Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. My Sharingan has too many functions. Chapter 41. Yan Meng and others looked towards the direction of the sound with angry eyes. I saw 5 people standing there at the creek on the left. One of them was Wang Jianshou. You traitor, why are you here? Chen Annie shouted directly to Wang Jianshou, her eyes full of disgust and anger. They didn't expect to see Wang Jianshou here. However, seeing that they had just arrived at their current location, Yan Meng and the others also breathed a sigh of relief. When he heard the word traitor, the muscles on Wang Jianshou's face twitched slightly. Humph, traitor, it's your fault for being ignorant. Wang Jianshou's eyes fell on Chen Annie and he said coldly. Do you really think it's a coincidence that I joined your team? My goal was to get the essence of spiritual gold. How naive. Wang Jianshou then looked at Yan Meng, who had been silent, and said with a slight curl of the corner of his mouth. I have given the essence of spiritual gold to my elder brother. After my elder brother practices and absorbs it, his strength will naturally increase to a higher level. Yan Meng, since you are attracted by my elder brother, you should know something better and stop asking for trouble all the time. What's wrong with following my elder brother? He's a gold-level superpower and a genius student of the Theological Academy. It's your honor to be able to take a liking to you. Wang Jianshou's eyes glanced playfully at Chen Annie, Qin Xiaori, and Lang Jia's face, as if he had thought of something, and the expression on his face was a little regretful. Otherwise, it would be a pity that such beautiful beauties as you only have silver rank. As he said that, he shook his head deliberately, as if he was really thinking about Yan Meng and the others. You and your eldest brother are both shameless people. Let your eldest brother give up. There is absolutely no way I will agree to him. Yan Meng's face was very ugly at this time, and her eyes were staring at Wang Jianshou with undisguised disgust. In other words, she also hated the eldest brother. Wang Jianshou said. And you, don't think that you can sit back and relax with your big brother protecting you. Even if you use those methods to prevent us from practicing, it's useless. We will get back what we owe ourselves. Yan Meng's voice was cold, and her chest that kept rising and falling showed that she was not calm. The same is true for Chen Annie and others. Zhao Fan's clone watched this scene silently. Apparently his guess was correct. This Wang Jianshou was the person in Yan Meng's previous team. What I heard from their conversation was that during a mission, Wang Jianshou took advantage of Yan Meng and others' trust in him and took the spiritual object and left. However, judging from Yan Meng's mood, there should be other things going on. At least in addition to the loss of spiritual objects, there are other injuries. Otherwise, Chen Annie and others would not hate each other so much. After listening to Yan Meng's words, Wang Jianshou lost his smile and snorted coldly, but did not speak to Yan Meng anymore. Instead, his eyes fell on Zhao Fan beside him. It seems that this boy has good abilities, and he can actually bring you here. But the spiritual gold fruit has been decided by me, so you should leave quickly. Wang Jianshou felt angry in his heart when he saw Zhao Fan's calm expression again. Well, and your kid, I checked your information, and when I think about it, it turns out that you are mentally retarded. Tisk tisk tisk, your parents are missing, and I don't know if they are dead. Looking at the patterns in the eyes of Zhao Fan's clone, Wang Jianshou said sarcastically. He already knew that Zhao Fan had no background, so he was naturally even more arrogant. Young boy who has no parents, I advise you to just be honest and don't offend anyone you can't afford to offend. Wang Jianshou was only halfway through his words when he felt something was wrong. In the blink of an eye, a huge demonic snake had already entangled him, and the snake's mouth was wide open, with a fishy smell, and it bit him directly. Wang Jianshou's expression changed, and then a mental wave spread from him like water ripples, directly sweeping over the demon snake on his body. The demonic snake swayed a few times as if the signal was unstable, and then melted and disappeared like an ice cube. At this time, Wang Jianshou heard several muffled groans coming from behind him. He quickly looked back and saw that several teammates standing behind him were kneeling on the ground in pain, covering their heads. Obviously, they were caught off guard and directly injured by Wang Jianshou's sudden burst of mental power fluctuations. What a boy! How dare you attack me? You are dead. Wang Jianshou was surprisingly angry. He knew the powers of Yan Meng and others, so he naturally understood that it was Zhao Fan who had done something to him. Therefore, the look he looked at Zhao Fan became sinister. Wang Jianshou, You are dreaming. We will not give the spiritual gold fruit to you. Yan Meng and others also reacted after seeing Wang Jianshou suddenly attack his teammates, and Yan Meng even cursed Wang Jianshou directly. Then he looked towards Zhao Fan. At this time, Zhao Fan's clone's eyes were filled with coldness, and both Sharingan seemed to be glowing red. Even if he has no feelings for his original parents, Wang Jianshou cannot insult them. Seeing this situation, Yan Meng and the girls did not hesitate, and directly put into a fighting posture, while speaking at a fast pace to Zhao Fan. Junior, Wang Jianshou's superpower is mental power control. It is the only superpower that can be used externally during the silver stage. His mental power can not only detect, but can also temporarily affect the consciousness of others. When talking about affecting other people's consciousness, Yan Meng's tone was obviously a bit serious, while Chen Annie and others were staring at Wang Jianshou's every move. The short-haired man on his left has the power to transform into a demon bear. He is extremely powerful and has strong destructive power. That little guy has wind power, which can increase the speed of teammates' movements and has certain protective capabilities. The sissy with earrings on the right has water powers and control type. Be careful of his water prison. The last green-haired ability is to summon a chameleon. Be careful of his sneak attack. The chameleon's tongue can attack from a distance. Just when Yan Meng quickly introduced Wang Jianshou's team to Zhao Fan's clone. The four people behind Wang Jianshou also slowed down at this time, and then the short-haired man took a step forward, opened his mouth, bared his big teeth, looked at Yan Meng and the others with evil intentions and said, "Brother Wang, what do you say? Let these girls and that boy suffer a little." Wang Jianshou responded directly, "Get rid of this kid. I want him to know that when he has no strength, he should put away his tail and be a dog. How dare you attack me? Why should he?" As he spoke, a spiritual shock struck Zhao Fan's clone. However, there was nothing abnormal about the Zhao Fan clone that was attacked, as if he had not been attacked just now. Seeing that his attack was fruitless, Wang Jianshou's face turned gloomy. Just when he was about to talk to his teammates about fighting, he suddenly felt a gust of wind coming, and then a huge force hit him directly in the face. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and blocked it with his mental strength. But Wang Jianshou was still knocked directly into the nearby creek because of this force. "Dolly, you are crazy. How could you attack Brother Wang?" The short-haired man was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe that Dolly suddenly turned around and slapped Wang Jianshou in the face. "Ah, Brother Wang, I'm sorry, I saw that kid suddenly appeared behind me, so I took action. I didn't expect to hit you." After the beating, the short-haired man Dolly said a little aggrievedly, he did not expect this. "Dolly, stay away from me. HMPH, Zhao Fan, your illusion is good, but let me tell you, it's useless to me." Wang Jianshou crawled out of the stream, and he was already soaked to the skin. There was a hint of fright and joy in his eyes. Just now, he was hit hard without any preparation. If he hadn't reacted, he might have fainted now. Even so, he is a little confused now. After Wang Jianshou came out of the creek, he kept a distance from the short-haired man. He had just felt that Zhao Fan's hallucination had little impact on him if he was prepared. But it's hard to say for others. He is still frightened by Dolly's slap, so now he doesn't even dare to stay near his teammates. Of course, he didn't know that Zhao Fan in front of him now was just a crow clone. Yan Meng and the girls looked at Zhao Fan's clone in surprise. They didn't expect Zhao Fan to be so flexible in using the illusion. Seeing Wang Jianshou suffering a loss but having to stay away from his teammates, Yan Meng and the girls felt very good. Chen Annie even laughed out loud. Hey, the traitor is drowned. He is in disgrace." Yan Meng, Qin Shaori and Leng Jia all had a smile in their eyes. However, they did not relax their vigilance. Not to mention that they had conflicts with Wang Jianshou in the first place, but now that the Lingjin fruit was in front of them, they would definitely not be able to give up. This battle is inevitable. Zhao Fan's clone Sharingan turned slightly. He was not someone who waited for the other party to be ready before taking action. It's a pity that his total mental power is too small, and he can only simply release genjutsu a few times. Try to fight as quickly as possible, and then let the main body rush over as soon as possible. Zhao Fan's clone glanced at Yan Meng and the girls who were ready to fight at any time, and his heart moved. "What are you doing standing still? Go get them." Wang Jianshou, who was ridiculed by Chen Annie, became furious and shouted directly to the 4 people who were in a daze. At the same time, he looked at Zhao Fan warily. His superpower was ready to go, and he was also wary of his teammates. It seemed that Zhao Fan's clone's operation made him a little confused. But this time, Yan Meng and the girls still fought with the 4 short-haired men. At the beginning, Yan Meng summoned several thorns and vines and tied them up to the 4 short-haired men. The 3 little men fled away, leaving only the short-haired man tied up tightly by Yan Meng. But Yan Meng did not feel relieved, and controlled the vines to bind them tighter and tighter. Roar! A roar like a demonic bear sounded from the depths of the vines, and then the vines tied into a ball began to slowly expand. Then as it grew larger, the outermost thorn vines began to break, until the short-haired man inside was exposed. At this time, the short-haired man had transformed into a demonic bear, wearing a black leather coat and a huge body, which directly tore apart the thorns and vines wrapped around his body. On the other side, Sissy and Chen Annie were throwing water balls and fireballs at each other, and from time to time a large piece of steam appeared. Qin Xiaori directly used the blessing of light on everyone, and used light powers to enhance Yan Meng's vines. The short-haired man who could originally tear the vines was tied tightly and was unable to break free. The little man used the wind power. Although it increased the movement speed of his teammates, in the cold and thick soil field, he just felt like he was carrying a heavy object, and the speed did not increase much. Some of the attacks such as wind blades used were offset by Qin Xiaori's use of light energy. After the last one directly summoned the chameleon, his figure was like a chameleon, blending into the scenery without making any move, making people wonder where he was hiding. This made Yan Meng and others always wary of his sneak attack, and their attention was not entirely focused on the opponent in front of them. This gave the short-haired men a chance to fight back. Just when the battle in the field was getting tense, Wang Jianshou looked at Zhao Fan's clone with a sinister look on his face. Compared to Yan Meng and the other girls, he wanted to get rid of Zhao Fan first. Wang Jianshou's eyes widened and he saw that Zhao Fan's attention was focused on Yan Meng and the girls. A mental shock quickly hit Zhao Fan. At the same time, in an open space with nothing out of the ordinary, a black shadow suddenly popped up from the air and flashed past, hitting Zhao Fan's clone almost at the same time as Wang Jianshou's mental power. Puff! The sharp sound of breaking through the air immediately aroused the vigilance of Yan Meng and the other girls. Following the sound, they saw a straight tongue piercing through Zhao Fan's chest. Zhao Fan, Jr. This scene made the pupils of Yan Meng and the girls dilate slightly, and Yan Meng became even more panicked and angry and shouted directly at Wang Jianshou. Wang Jianshou, do you want to kill someone? Faced with Yan Meng's question, Wang Jianshou chuckled disdainfully. You see clearly. This is the outcome of being ignorant. I advise you to. So much nonsense. Zhao Fan's cold voice stopped Wang Jianshou's words. Everyone looked at Zhao Fan and saw crows starting to fly out from the chest area penetrated by the chameleon's tongue. Crow, Wang Jianshou, Yan Meng and others watched Zhao Fan split into crows and scatter like a puzzle. Black crows and scattered black feathers kept flying in front of several people, while Zhao Fan's only intact face was looking at Wang Jianshou and said, Wang Jianshou, you are dead, I said so. As he spoke, Zhao Fan's face turned into a crow and flew up, and his voice seemed to have full-scale reverb, making people unable to find his location, as if he was by their side again. From the initial fright, Yan Meng and others realized that this might be Zhao Fan's illusion, and they immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Wang Jianshou's eyes were red at this time, and he quickly scanned the surroundings. Is this an illusion? The mental power fluctuated and scattered, but these crows and feathers still existed and did not disappear. No, how is that possible? Wang Jianshou couldn't believe what he just saw. A living person turned into a crow and flew away when his chest was penetrated. However, he kept using his powers to try to relieve the influence of the hallucination on him, but it still had no effect. As if thinking of something, Wang Jianshou quickly looked up. His pupils couldn't help but shrink. In the open space, Yan Meng and the girls were standing together helplessly, while Wang Zhenshou's 4 teammates were fighting together. The chameleon's tongue was directly wrapped around his hand and the top game started. The little man kept stirring the sissy's water ball with the wind. Then he was suddenly hit by the chameleon who was thrown up by the force. After the three of them were knocked unconscious, the force stopped and ignored the Yanmeng girls beside them. It fell on Wang Jianshou not far away. No, Zhao Fan, I'll kill you. At this moment, Wang Jianshou felt his asshole tighten. Feeling something was wrong, Wang Jianshou looked at the demon bear running toward him and cursed Zhao Fan directly. He has never seen anyone who can use illusion to this extent. It actually affected all four of his teammates to this extent. What Zhao Fan just said replayed in Wang Jianshou's mind again, and the strong sense of crisis made his murderous intention towards Zhao Fan even stronger. Zhao Fan must die. Wang Jianshou thought so, looked at Yanmeng and the others hatefully, and then looked at the Lingjian fruit that was still glowing with light gold over there with some reluctance. Knowing that there was no possibility of obtaining the spiritual gold fruit, Wang Jianshou simply chose to leave here. After all, he knew that if he continued to be here, he would be asking for trouble. Wang Jianshou left along the stream without looking back, while Dolly fell to the ground and fell asleep after chasing for a certain distance. Is this the end? Chen Annie is still a little unresponsive. Her heart tightened when she saw Zhao Fan's chest being penetrated, and then she saw a magical scene. Then, with crows and feathers flying, her opponents began to attack each other. Now that I see Wang Jianshou leaving in such a mess, I feel indescribable joy in my heart. Yanmeng and the other girls looked at each other, and after checking that the four short-haired men were unconscious, they began to look for Zhao Fan. Junior, where have you been? Zhao Fan, who was a few kilometers away from Yanmeng, killed the demon wolf that rushed towards him with one shot, then looked in the direction of Yanmeng and frowned. Wang Jianshou. You were really looking for death. Zhao Fan looked at the demon wolf that had lost its energy, and directly channeled several crows to take him flying. Then he quickly flew in the direction of Yanmeng and others. Just when Zhao Fan left, four figures suddenly rushed out from the woods. His yellow eyes were blood red, looking greedily at the corpses of monsters on the ground. At the same time, he kept sniffing the surrounding smells. Suck, it smells like someone. Taking a deep breath of the blood-smelling air, the leader of the half-demons said comfortably. Looking at the still bleeding and steaming demon wolf corpse, he waved his hand. It should be nearby, keep chasing. The four people quickly dispersed and looked around. After 10 minutes, the four people came back here again. At this time, their eyes were full of rage and bloodlust. No, I don't have this either. It doesn't even taste like it anymore. Seeing that everyone was shaking their heads and not noticing, the half-demon headed by him had an obviously ugly expression on his beastly face. He also found that there was still a human smell here, but it was gone elsewhere. This is impossible. Could it be that this person can fly? As soon as such an idea appeared, he wiped it away. After all, you can only fly when you reach the diamond level. And how could a diamond level appear in the silver monster area? This is absolutely impossible. After a brief period of confusion, the four of them could only put the matter aside for the time being. After searching for directions, they decided to continue looking for their mission target. Flying in the air, Zhao Fan kept observing the ground, and soon he made a discovery. Thumping. Hey, isn't this Senior Wang? Why are you running away? Is there something going on at home? Wang Jianshou quickly ran towards the city gate. Suddenly several crows fell from the sky, and then Zhao Fan's figure appeared in front of him, which made his pupils shrink suddenly. And Zhao Fan's voice made him even more angry. Zhao Fan, you. Only then did Wang Jianshou realize the way Zhao Fan appeared. He suddenly raised his head and looked up. There was nothing but towering trees. You can actually fly. Wang Jianshou pointed at Zhao Fan and couldn't help shouting, with a look of shock on his face. Zhao Fan looked at Wang Jianshou and couldn't help but sneered. Senior Wang, you seem to be surprised. Didn't you check my information? Wang Jianshou was constantly thinking about countermeasures. He knew that Zhao Fan might really want to attack him if he chased him like this. His heart skipped a beat and he said to Zhao Fan. Zhao Fan, let me tell you, my eldest brother is a gold-level superpower. You'd better let me go, otherwise my eldest brother will never let you go. I can promise you, I will never cause trouble to you again. I will do what I say. Although Wang Jianshou behaved like this, the increasingly intense malice on his body was particularly obvious in Zhao Fan's perception. Zhao Fan's Sharingan keeps falling on Wang Jianshou, like looking at a clown. Such a look made Wang Jianshou roar in his heart. When I go back, I will definitely ask my elder brother to come over and kill you. Wang Jianshou's mental power kept attacking Zhao Fan, but he was like being hit in the air, and Zhao Fan had no reaction at all. This made Wang Jianshou's face become paler and paler, and he began to feel a little dazed. Impossible. A silver beginner can withstand my attacks all the time. This is impossible. This is an illusion. Zhao Fan, how on earth did you do it? Wang Jianshou looked at Zhao Fan standing in front of him. While talking, he slowly backed away. Zhao Fan, please let me go. I am a student of Sushan Theological College. You can't kill me, otherwise the college will definitely punish you. Bang! Wang Jianshou's retreating body suddenly stopped. He couldn't help but swallow, with disbelief in his eyes. Looking at Zhao Fan, who had been standing there motionless, the touch on his back just now was obviously a person's body. Wang Jianshou turned around slowly and tremblingly, and Zhao Fan's familiar face and the scarlet eye skill appeared again. How possible? Under his gaze, the pattern in Zhao Fan's eyes changed rapidly, forming a beautiful sickle and windmill look. Monthly reading. Wang Jianshou, to be honest, I prefer your unruly look before. You are honored. This is the first time I have used this ability. In the world of Tsukuyomi, I have control over space, time, and quality. Zhao Fan's voice rang in Wang Jianshou's ears, and Wang Jianshou suddenly found himself in a world like a negative. The whole world was filled with black and dark red, and his entire body was hung on a cross bracket, and his mental power and abilities all disappeared. No. After hearing what Zhao Fan said, Wang Jianshou couldn't understand why at all. Why does a kid who just joined Silver have such ability? Let me go. Zhao Fan's figure appeared in front of him, holding a long gun in his hand, and said coldly. Time has no meaning here. No matter how long it takes, it is just a moment to reality. Wang Jianshou, when you insulted my parents, did you expect such a result? As Zhao Fan said that, the spear penetrated Wang Jianshou's body. Ah! The very clear pain made Wang Jianshou's brain clear. When he thought he would escape from the hallucination because of such pain, he found that he was still fixed on the cross. This time, two Zhao Fans appeared in front of him, and the spears in their hands stabbed into his body again. Wang Jianshou, your strength is not as strong as you think. Wang Jianshou screamed again, and the next moment, 4 Zhao Fans appeared in front of him. The look in Wang Jianshou's eyes became frightened. At this time, in this dark red world, there were countless Wang Jianshou fixed on crosses. In front of each cross, there were several Zhao Fans holding spears and stabbing Wang Jianshou. He couldn't understand how Zhao Fan could achieve this kind of energy. He could only cycle through the bursts of severe pain in Zhao Fan's plain voice. Your eldest brother is at the gold level and you are not, why are you so crazy? Wang Jianshou, I hope you can persist longer. Struggling in my world, or sinking. Plop. In the real world, Wang Jianshou collapsed on the ground, and Zhao Fan's eyes had returned to their original state. At this time, the hostility in his heart also subsided. After receiving the memory of the crow clone, Zhao Fan felt suffocated in his heart for some reason. This is also the reason why he chose to use Tsukuyomi when facing Wang Jianshou. Only in this way can Wang Jianshou be punished for his rude words. Zhao Fan, who felt at ease, glanced at the unconscious Wang Jianshou, then looked in the direction of the city gate, then turned into a crow and left. The only pity is that Wang Jianshou only lasted less than 4 hours before he collapsed. This willpower is so fragile. As Zhao Fan left, not long afterward there was movement in the woods. Quick, there is energy reaction here. A strong man rushed out from the woods. He looked like he was a city guard, and 2 more people followed him. Are those fools here again? Looking at Wang Jianshou on the ground, the strong man quickly checked and breathed a sigh of relief after finding that his life was not serious. It's okay. It's okay. This one hasn't been taken away yet. There's no sign of anyone nearby. The other 2 people quickly checked the surroundings and came back. Well, as for those 5, we can only report them. The strong man shook his head, grabbed Wang Jianshou's clothes, picked him up, and walked back. He rushed here after receiving a notice from Sushin Academy. Because the silver team's badge is bound to a person's mental power, it will automatically alarm as long as it leaves the body for a period of time. When the strong man arrived at the location, there was only a large pool of blood, broken clothes and 5 team badges. He directly checked the surrounding area with that as the center, and happened to feel the impact of the mental power released by Wang Jianshou indiscriminately. The energy fluctuations at the peak of silver naturally caught his attention. Fortunately, Wang Jianshou's life was not in danger, which made the strong man feel a little lucky. Zhao Fan seems to be no longer here. Chen Annie pouted and said unhappily. Isn't he going to chase Wang Jianshou? These words made Yan Meng and others stare directly at Chen Annie. It's possible. Yan Meng said seriously that although she didn't spend much time with Zhao Fan, she could still detect some of Zhao Fan's characteristics. Senior, are you all waiting for me? Before Yan Mengmeng could finish what he wanted to say, Zhao Fan emerged from the woods nearby. After Wang Jianshou was solved, Zhao Fan felt better again. Although he didn't kill someone directly because of some reasons, there were too many weird powers, and there was no guarantee that there would be any that could be tracked. Zhao Fan simply destroyed Wang Jianshou's spiritual consciousness and made him a vegetable. Moreover, Zhao Fan also left a little surprise for Wang Jianshou. If someone really saved Wang Jianshou, he would probably like this gift very much. Zhao Fan looked at Yan Meng and the others with a smile. When Chen Annie saw Zhao Fan, she immediately wanted to rush over and give him a hug. After all, the control and influence Zhao Fan's clone showed on the enemy before was so handsome. Fortunately, Qin Shaori hugged her and kept biting Chen Annie's ears, asking her to be a lady. Zhao Fan, are you going to chase Wang Jianshou? Yan Meng pondered for a moment and asked Zhao Fan. Zhao Fan shook his head, pointed at his eyes and said, no, he is not worth chasing. I just saw some strange energy reactions, so I went to check it out. Senior, aren't you going to pick this spiritual gold fruit? Oh, by the way, there is also a monster. Zhao Fan didn't wait for Yan Meng to ask any more questions, and looked at the Lingjin fruit tree, which still had energy fluctuations. Yan Mengmei looked at Zhao Fan, and after a few seconds she said with a smile. After all, you discovered this. Of course, we can only take action when you are present. How could you, junior fellow student, know how to create such a powerful illusion? I don't dare to provoke you. At this time, Yan Meng seemed to have figured something out, and the unfamiliarity he felt when communicating with Zhao Fan was now much lighter. Zhao Fan looked at them thoughtfully. Chen Annie and others seemed to have a somewhat different attitude towards him. Is this an increase in favorability? Zhao Fan couldn't help but complain in his heart. In fact, he didn't want to come back like this, but because the Krill clone was gone, plus Wang Jianshou's matter. The most important thing is efficiency. Due to distance restrictions, he can only move within 3,000 meters nearby. Harvesting once is okay, but doing this all the time is a waste of time. However, Zhao Fan was naturally happy to see the change in attitude of Yan Meng and others towards him. After all, no one likes to be with someone who is separated from him all the time. Apparently, Yan Meng and the others were very happy because he quickly defeated Wang Jianshou and made Wang Jianshou leave in a very embarrassed state. Therefore, the feeling of alienation towards Zhao Fan has also become much weaker. After Zhao Fan returned to the team, the 5 spiritual gold fruits naturally became their possessions, and they collected them one by one. The red-scaled demon snake, which was only at the peak of silver, had no power to fight back in front of Zhao Fan and the others, and quickly contributed its demonic beast crystal core. Because Zhao Fan did not absorb the energy in the crystal core when Yan Meng and others were present. The short-haired man woke up while Zhao Fan and Yan Meng were fighting the monsters, and slipped away quietly. Of course, their actions were naturally noticed by Zhao Fan. However, Zhao Fan ignored them. After putting away the Lingjin fruit, Zhao Fan continued his mission as a scout, checking places with strong energy reactions. At the same time, Zhao Fan also focused on inspecting his harvest. Because of the improvement in the strength of the silver monsters, their respective territories have been divided. Therefore, in the previous period of time, Zhao Fanman had only killed less than 32 monsters after careful calculation. The total energy points directly reached 26,300 energy points. This was because he had been attracting the monsters with the smell of blood to achieve such an effect. Some monsters even gave him nearly 1,000 points of energy. Of course, time is also a reason. After all, Zhao Fan will not stay in one place for a long time. But the monster corpses he left behind will also attract some monsters. Zhao Fan looked at his energy points with great satisfaction. When he went back to get points and exchange them for some energy spiritual objects, he might be able to directly increase the energy to more than 50,000. In addition, so much time has passed, and all his attributes have increased by more than 90 points again. Three-dimensional directly exceeded 400 points. Zhao Fan felt in his heart that if his attributes continued to increase like this, it would be possible for him to become a saint in the physical body. In this way, Zhao Fan occasionally used the crow clone to stay in the team, while the main body went to look for monsters. However, it seems that Zhao Fan's luck ran out, or he killed too many monsters, so that he did not encounter a few monsters. The energy points have only slightly increased by a few thousand points. Yan Meng and others took tents and other camping equipment and searched in the demon forest for 4 days. On the 5th day, a special energy wave suddenly appeared in Zhao Fan's field of vision. Zhao Fan's expression changed, and Chen Annie, who had been quietly paying attention to him, immediately asked, "Zhao Fan, did you find anything?" "Well, I saw a special energy reaction, which is obviously different from other monsters." Zhao Fan, who was standing on the tree, looked at the place where the energy fluctuated and said. Then Yan Meng and the girls did not hesitate, following Zhao Fan's direction and quickly moved towards the location of the energy reaction. Compared with before, this time they acted more simply. At this time, there were suddenly more roars of monsters in the monster forest, followed by the sound of monsters running in the jungle. Zhao Fan and others who also heard these movements also observed their surroundings very vigilantly. However, as they moved forward, the traces of monster beasts became more and more obvious, and they even saw several monster beasts passing directly by them. If it weren't for Yan Meng's hold, Chen Annie's fireball would have been thrown directly. Yan Meng and others were increasingly shocked, seeing that many monsters did not attack them, but ran forward. And it was the same as where they were going, which made her have another guess. Soon, they arrived at the location where the special energy was reacting. I saw several monsters waiting here quietly. After seeing Zhao Fan and others appearing, they did not attack. Instead, they just roared a few times with some dissatisfaction at them. Zhao Fan couldn't help but be a little surprised by such a strange scene. He looked up and saw a very special, transparent crack in the midair where these monsters were looking, emitting a shimmering light. Even though he had never seen it before, Zhao Fan could still guess what it was when he saw this scene. Space crack. Is it related to the secret realm? Special energy fluctuations are constantly emitting in this crack. Now that Zhao Fan is close to this place, he can feel that the purity of this energy is much higher than that in the demon forest. This is the entrance to the secret realm that is about to open. Yan Meng said, and at this moment she took out something like a compass in her hand. There is also a silvery white light shining on it. This is a detection prop given by the Academy for this mission. It will only react within 10 meters of the entrance to the secret realm. After detection, the energy reaction intensity is silver level, and the purity is almost reaching gold. Yan Meng's tone was filled with surprise, and then her expression became excited. Although I don't know the rules of the secret realm and what kind of secret realm it is, with such pure energy, our strength can be greatly improved. Maybe, we can rise to the gold level in the secret realm. Yan Meng said that he did not dare to speak too loudly for fear of disturbing the nearby monsters. You should know that there are more than 10 silver peak monsters here. The auras of many monster beasts made Yan Meng and others a little afraid. However, Yan Meng did not panic. This situation had happened several times before. Such a secret realm where monsters are waiting will also have an effect on them, although we still don't know how they are distinguished. Under normal circumstances, the space before the entrance to the secret realm is relatively fragile, and energy fluctuations at the silver level may affect the opening of the secret realm. This is also the reason why these monsters are peaceful and do not attack. Quote. Speaking of this, Yan Meng also glanced at Chen Annie, making Annie touch her head and laugh. As long as we don't take action, they won't attack us. Zhao Fan nodded, keeping his eyes on the crack in space, and asked Yan Meng. Then when will this secret realm be opened? It should be almost there, or we are lucky. We must know that such high purity secret energy fluctuations will wash away the surrounding energy. In other words, when the secret realm is opened, our mental power will be slightly purified. Up to now, the joy in Yan Meng's tone was very strong. She glanced at the compass in her hand and then spoke. Zhao Fan searched for information about the secret realm in his mind, and soon found what he wanted. There was corresponding information from the memories of the third and fourth sons. Secret realms are divided into two types: exploration secret realms and inheritance secret realms. Exploring secret realms means that you can explore freely, including newcomer secret realms, resource secret realms in the academy, and secret realms that can produce thunder spirits, all belong to exploration type secret realms. The secret realm is relatively vast, and there will be a variety of natural and earthly treasures, as well as the existence of monsters and beasts. The inheritance secret realm is different. It has special rules and special tests. After passing the test, you will get the reward of the secret realm. The types of tests are all kinds of strange. In Lao San's memory, he has been to a power-based inheritance secret realm, and it directly greatly increased the power of his powers. According to Zhao Fan's understanding, it is a permanent percentage bonus. Therefore, compared with exploring the secret realm, the danger of inheriting the secret realm is much less, but it does not mean that there is no danger. If you are not careful, you may still die under the test. This secret realm is most likely an inheritance secret realm. At this time, Yan Meng finally came to this conclusion after a series of observations and the information on the compass in his hand. When they heard that it was the secret realm of inheritance, Chen Annie, Qin Xiaori and Leng Jia also had a touch of joy on their faces. At this time, Yan Meng was also looking at the spatial cracks that were still slowly changing with hope. Various thoughts emerged in her mind. Although Zhao Fan is also very interested in the secret realm, compared to the excitement in the hearts of Yan Meng and others, he seems a little calm at this time. In fact, when Zhao Fan knew that it would be a while before the secret realm was opened, his attention had already turned from the space crack to the surrounding monsters. If we kill them all, the energy points should be over 100,000, right? Thinking like this, Zhao Fan's eyes began to look dangerous. As Zhao Fan stared at the tiger monster, he suddenly became alert and stood up from his crouching state. He looked around vigilantly, wondering where the inexplicable malice came from. Being stared at by Zhao Fan, the monster's huge tiger face had an obvious look of confusion, and its eyes were constantly observing with uncertainty. But it didn't become wary of Zhao Fan and the others standing on the other side of the space crack. After all, it was just such a thin two-legged monster. Even if its aura was similar to it, its strength was definitely not as powerful as it. It's about to open, Yan Meng, who had been watching the changes in the cracks in space, suddenly whispered. Zhao Fan withdrew his gaze, which made the demon tiger feel that the tiger's life would disappear at any time. Roar! The instinctive feeling told it that the danger had left, and the demon tiger couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The light on the space cracks in midair began to become brighter and brighter, and Zhao Fan could clearly see that the cracks began to open outwards. That special energy is like water, constantly flowing out of the cracks. Then, a dazzling light flashed past. Zhao Fan, Yan Meng and others closed their eyes for an instant. Zhao Fan could even hear the surrounding monsters being panicked by this sudden change. At this time, Zhao Fan felt a wave of energy sweep through his body quickly, and he focused his attention to take a look at the system. You can see that his mental power has increased by 20 points at this time. When Zhao Fan opened his eyes, the previous space crack had been replaced by a 3-meter-high light blue light mirror. The irregular edges are wrapped in a special energy. In the middle was a light blue texture like a light curtain, but Zhao Fan couldn't see what was behind it. Quick, let's go in, Yan Meng immediately spoke, because the secret realm was successfully opened, which meant that the space was no longer fragile, and even the surrounding monsters began to look at the 5 of them and were about to move. Yan Meng took the lead and quickly rushed into the light curtain, followed closely by Chen Annie, Qin Xiaori and Leng Jia. After watching Yan Meng and the others go in, Zhao Fan did not follow them, and a smile suddenly spread on his face. PowerPoint, PowerPoint. Zhao Fan didn't pay attention to the surrounding monsters surrounding him. Sharingan looked at these monsters with flat eyes. His eyes made some of the smarter monsters feel like they were the prey. Genjutsu Sharingan. All the monsters that Zhao Fan had looked at were controlled by Genjutsu for a while, feeling the rapid consumption of their mental power. Zhao Fan, holding a spear in his hand, directly gave these monsters a fatal blow. Listening to the rapid increase in energy points in his mind, the speed of Zhao Fan's hands became a little faster. Roar! The demon tiger that Zhao Fan paid attention to before did not look at Zhao Fan because its attention was always on the light curtain in the secret realm. At the same time, it has no interest in two-legged monsters, so it is not among the monsters surrounding Zhao Fan. At this time, after seeing 4 two-legged monsters entering, it was looking curiously at the entrance to the secret realm. It could feel that there was something very attractive to it inside. However, the movement on Zhao Fan's side soon attracted its attention. Originally, it would not have cared if it was the roar of a monster, but now, apart from the sound of the spear hitting the flesh, there was only the sound of Zhao Fan moving. This made the demon tiger a little puzzled. He withdrew his attention from the entrance to the secret realm and looked towards Zhao Fan with his big head. Roar! What the hell? After seeing those monster beasts being killed by the two-legged beast motionlessly as if they were possessed by a demon, this scene directly made Yaohu's heart tremble. Roar! No, it's looking over. The demon tiger, who was in shock, suddenly found that the two-legged beast was looking towards it, and its blood-red eyes suddenly kicked up its legs in fear. He started right on the spot, dug out 2 ravines, and rushed into the entrance of the secret realm. When it entered the secret realm, it had only one thought in its head. I'm scared to death. You shouldn't be chasing me, right? Zhao Fan looked at the movements of the demon tiger and was a little surprised that it could actually dig 2 ravines in place. Is this what's so weird about cats? Even if he turns into a monster, nothing has changed. Zhao Fan didn't pay attention and ran away. He probably didn't use Genjutsu hypnosis before, so he had to deal with all the monsters in front of him first. Licking the corner of his mouth, Zhao Fan dealt with all the monsters with a feeling of harvest. After absorbing all the energy, he also collected some materials of the monsters. After this, his energy points directly reached 104,300 points. 18 peak silver monsters. Each energy point is around 4,000. Get rich. Really rich. Zhao Fan felt even more satisfied when he saw the 6-digit energy points, although the price was that he now had very little mental power left. And if it weren't for the fact that these monsters had no resistance to the illusion Genjutsu, Zhao Fan's current mental strength would not be enough to control 18 monsters at once. However, Zhao Fan discovered that with the breathing method, his mental power recovered very quickly. It takes about 10 seconds to recover 1% of his mental power, and it takes about a little over 16 minutes for him to recover all of his mental power. Of course, there is plenty of energy in the secret realm, and this time is shortened a lot. It takes almost 5 seconds to recover 1%. In other words, Zhao Fan here only needs a little more than 8 minutes to be at full strength and continue fighting. Zhao Fan checked in Lao San's memory and found that the recovery speed of mental power was related to his own power level. E-level exhaustion of mental energy requires 3 to 4 hours to recover regardless of any strength. A-level abilities take about 2 hours. I don't know about S-level and above, but it is said that the recovery speed of S-level and above superpowers is faster than ordinary people, basically within an hour. If Zhao Fan tells the story of his current recovery speed of mental power, it will definitely arouse the greed of others. As for why they only had 1,000 energy points when they killed Lao San, Zhao Fan speculated that it might be because Lao San and the others could only be considered half monsters, so the system only absorbed the energy belonging to the monsters. While thinking, Zhao Fan put away his spear. It took him some time to kill the monster, and he didn't know what happened to Yan Meng and the others. Stepping directly into the secret realm, it was the same as in the newcomer's secret realm. It was like breaking a water film, the same feeling. After entering the secret realm, a stone platform came into view, and Zhao Fan stood right in the middle of the platform. Zhao Fan looked back and saw that there was no trace of the entrance to the secret realm behind him. Does it look like it was also teleported randomly? Zhao Fan murmured in a low voice, because there were no Yan Meng or others on the stone platform, and there was no trace of the demon tiger behind them. Looking around, I could only vaguely see the shadows of several platforms, and it was difficult to see whether there were people on them. It is very far away from Zhao Fan's platform. However, Zhao Fan discovered that several platforms continued to extend upward, like an invisible mountain, and these platforms were like steps one by one. This secret realm looks so grand. After taking in everything around him, Zhao Fan focused on a square stone pillar in front of him. The surface of the stone pillars is covered with strange lines, and it looks like it grows on the platform. As Zhao Fan approached, the lines on the stone pillar began to shine as if charged with energy. At the same time, a message suddenly came into Zhao Fan's mind. If the challenge is successful, you will get a reward and you can exit the secret realm. If you fail the challenge, you will die. Do you want to challenge? This information made Zhao Fan's eyes light up. This was indeed a secret realm of inheritance. All he had to do was challenge it and break through it. According to some information in the memory, the inheritance secret realm will be based on the strength at the time of entry to create challenges. Some of the special rules will have restrictions, but Zhao Fan didn't feel such restrictions in this secret realm. As long as the challenge is successful, you can choose whether to continue the challenge. Therefore, anyone who enters such a secret realm can escape unscathed as long as they are not greedy. It's just that when many people get to this point, it's hard not to be greedy. Challenge. After confirming that he only had this information, Zhao Fan chose to challenge without hesitation. The next moment, light flashed on the stone pillar, and a silver-level demon wolf appeared in front of Zhao Fan. As soon as the demon wolf came out, it seemed very eager to attack, and Zhao Fan also noticed that this demon beast was different from the demon beasts in the demon forest. The demon wolf's eyes were blood red, and there was absolutely no sense in them. Before Zhao Fan could think about it, the demon wolf quickly rushed towards Zhao Fan. At the same time, a wave of supernatural power appeared from the demon wolf, and the speed of the demon wolf suddenly increased a lot. He rushed in front of Zhao Fan all of a sudden. Zhao Fan's pupils shrank, and Sharingan used it instantly, directly controlling the demonic wolf with hypnosis. Then his eyes narrowed, and Zhao Fan quickly turned sideways to hide. I heard a swish sound. A streak of light cyan supernatural energy passed through Zhao Fan's position just now. Is this the power of the silver monster? Zhao Fan's expression was a little ugly, but at the same time he was still a little curious. After all, this was the first monster that immediately used its superpower upon seeing him. It was also Zhao Fan who killed so many, the first monster that used his superpower before he used Sharingan to control it. It can be said that this demon wolf caught Zhao Fan off guard. If his three-dimensional attributes were not far superior to ordinary silver beginners, he might not be able to dodge easily. He was able to dodge such a sneak attack by a silver-level monster with high attributes. What if it was a gold-level sneak attack? The monster has no brain, what if it is a human? Thinking like this, Zhao Fan, who was still a little swollen, became a little silent for a while. Sure enough, it's easy to expand when you have strength. Fortunately, this is just a silver monster. But the consumption is smaller than in the demon forest. Is it because of irrational reasons? Zhao Fan thought about it, took out his spear and killed the demon wolf directly, without paying attention to the system's reminder. I saw the stone pillar flash for a moment, and then a drop of light blue water appeared above the stone pillar, floating in midair. Is this the reward? Zhao Fan came to the stone pillar and received the reward information. Earth Spirit Liquid. After absorption, it can increase spiritual power by 1,000 points. After seeing the reward description, Zhao Fan swallowed the floating Earth Spirit Liquid directly with his mouth without saying a word, without even using his hands. Zhao Fan only felt the Earth Spirit Liquid melting in his mouth, and the surging energy quickly poured into his mind, and was directly converted into his mental power without any loss and preserved. Suddenly 1,000 spiritual power was increased, and Zhao Fan felt that all the previous losses had been recovered. The feeling of clear mind and clear eyesight made Zhao Fan feel that his visit to the secret realm was not in vain. Of course, the moment he came into contact with the earthly liquid, the system also prompted that he could get 1,000 points of energy. Zhao Fan naturally wouldn't use the system to absorb it. You must know that energy points can be absorbed as long as they contain energy, including monster crystal nuclei. But the mental power is not good enough. If you want to improve the mental power, you need cultivation resources like crystal stones or earth spirit liquid. There may not be many spiritual objects that can be used to absorb and practice. Some of them had restrictions, so of course Zhao Fan chose to absorb them directly. As Zhao Fan finished absorbing the earth spirit liquid, the stone pillar flashed again. Do you want to continue the challenge? The Sharingan in Zhao Fan's eyes shone brightly and he said decisively. Continue. The stone pillar flashed with light, and two monster beasts suddenly appeared in front of Zhao Fan. Demon Tiger. Zhao Fan narrowed his eyes slightly. Not only did two monsters appear this time, but their energy response was also stronger than the monster wolf just now. It looked similar to the demon tiger Zhao Fan had seen before. The only difference might be the irrational eyes. This time, Zhao Fan did not hesitate and used Sharingan to directly control the two demon tigers and then quickly eliminated them. As the monster died, the stone pillar lit up again, and another drop of earthly liquid appeared. Zhao Fan naturally swallowed the earth spirit liquid again, and while his mental power increased by 1,000 points again, an inexplicable feeling appeared in Zhao Fan's heart. Probably after another try, this level of earth spirit liquid will have no effect on him. Zhao Fan didn't care. It was normal for such things to have restrictions. After Shizu reminded him again, Zhao Fan chose to continue the challenge. This time, 3 monster beasts and monster turtles appeared. Seeing the turtle's back, which was at least nearly 2 meters wide, Zhao Fan had one more guess in his mind. The first level is the demon wolf, which is very fast and has just reached the energy reaction of the initial silver level. The second level is the demon tiger, which is very powerful and is at the beginning level of silver, almost reaching the intermediate level. It was just solved by Zhao Fan in advance and did not show up. This third level is the demon turtle, physical defense, and silver mid-level energy reaction. These 3 demon turtles didn't care what Zhao Fan was thinking. After seeing Zhao Fan, they stretched their heads and crawled towards Zhao Fan with their 4 claws at the same time. Different from what Zhao Fan guessed, the speed of the demon turtle was not too slow. In addition, due to its huge size, it still came to Zhao Fan. However, this time after Zhao Fan used Sharingan again, he was still defeated when he tried to kill the demon turtle with his spear. The dark gold spear pierced the demon turtle's neck. It only made a small hole and was stuck by the surrounding skin. Zhao Fan had no choice but to use force again, and it took some effort to kill the 3 monster turtles. The dark gold spear is actually no longer worthy of Zhao Fan's current attributes. Now killing the demon turtle, Zhao Fan feels like he is cutting bones with a wooden knife. First, nothing can move, and second, I dare not use too much force for fear of breaking the spear. Zhao Fan touched it and found that the spear tip was smoothed. He immediately put the spear away with his heart moving. I don't know if the secret realm will give him a weapon-like spiritual object this time. When I came to the stone pillar, sure enough, the reward this time was still the earth spirit liquid. Zhao Fan swallowed the earth spirit liquid with satisfaction, and his mental power increased again, reaching more than 3,700 points. It can be said that Zhao Fan's current mental power has reached the level of the late silver stage. Maybe this trip to the secret realm can also allow him to advance to the gold level. Thinking like this, Zhao Fan once again chose to continue the challenge. White light flashed, and this time 5 demon leopards appeared in front of Zhao Fan. A monster with a combination of strength and sensitivity, is the silver intermediate level close to the high level. Zhao Fan murmured in a low voice, but without hesitation in his movements, he controlled the 5 demon leopards again. Because the spear could no longer be used, Zhao Fan directly used his physical attributes this time. With a slight force of both fists, he hit the leopard's head directly, followed by the sound of the skull cracking. So strong. A thought flashed through Zhao Fan's mind, and he saw the demon leopard's head hit by Zhao Fan directly hit the platform ground, making a muffled sound and splattering blood and brain. Fortunately, Zhao Fan reacted quickly and did not get any blood on himself. Then, Zhao Fan controlled his strength and killed the other 4 demon leopards, looking at Shizu curiously. 3 times of spiritual liquid, what will be the reward this time? Zhao Fan didn't let Zhao Fan guess for too long. A white light flashed, and the same drop of liquid appeared on the stone pillar. Compared with the light blue color of the earth spirit liquid, this drop is light red. Zhao Fan quickly came to the stone pillar and received the explanation of this reward. Blood spirit liquid. Zhao Fan raised his eyebrows. The effect of this blood spirit liquid is similar to that of earth spirit liquid. It is a spiritual substance that is effective for physical strength. However, the bonus of this blood spirit liquid varies from person to person. It is a very suitable training resource for body strengthening abilities or transformation abilities. Of course, for any silver power possessor, it has the effect of strengthening the body. Zhao Fan raised his head and drank the drop of blood spirit liquid. The next moment, warm energy quickly spread throughout the body, and the muscles trembled slightly. At this time, Zhao Fan took a look at his attributes. Each three-dimensional attribute has increased by about, only 30 points. Zhao Fan frowned slightly. The bonus that this blood spirit liquid gave him could be said to be not even 1/10 of the earth spirit liquid. But soon, Zhao Fan realized that his basic attributes were now very high, probably reaching the gold level. Silver level blood spirit fluid can add another 30 points to his attributes, probably because his body level has not yet reached gold level. After all, as I said before, every time you advance to a level, your body will evolve, and the bonuses brought by attribute points will be different. Shaking his head, Zhao Fan no longer struggled with this issue and chose to continue the challenge. 6 demon-horned rhinos just reached the silver level. However, under Zhao Fan's iron fist, he still quickly contributed his energy points. I drank the rewarded blood spirit liquid again, and this time the bonus was even less, only 10 points. Zhao Fan didn't care and continued. 8 demon elephants, blood spirit liquid bonus 5 points. Zhao Fan breathed a long sigh of relief. If he guessed correctly, the monsters he would encounter in the next challenge should be at the peak of silver. And the number may reach 10. This is different from the entrance to the secret realm. Those monsters will attack cautiously, which gives Zhao Fan time to use genjutsu control. But in the challenge, the monsters are irrational and will only attack with supernatural powers. Zhao Fan adjusted his state. Even though he knew that with his current physical strength, he would not be afraid of fighting monsters, he still had to be careful and cautious. After choosing to continue the challenge, white light flashed and a figure appeared in front of Zhao Fan. This is. The light dissipated and Zhao Fan shrank his eyes. He had the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a python. This kind of monster suddenly reminded Zhao Fan of the name he was familiar with before traveling through time. Chimera. Zhao Fan looked at the monster beast that was very similar to the chimera in his memory, and he had a lot of thoughts in his heart. But the monster didn't give him time to think. The lion's head was buried deep in its chest, and the goat's head had 2 huge sharp horns. This monster beast arrived in front of Zhao Fan almost in the blink of an eye, and the pair of goat's horns pierced Zhao Fan directly. Speed power. Zhao Fan used Sharingan, only to find that this chimera-like monster contained 3 different energies, which directly disabled his genjutsu control. Seeing that the goat horns were already in front of him, Zhao Fan quickly turned sideways to dodge, spin, and whip his legs. That is, he dodged the sharp horn attack of the monster and directly kicked the goat on the head from the side. With the sound of bones breaking, the energy response on the goat's head disappeared instantly. Just when Zhao Fan was in a gap to attack, the python tail at the tail of the monster swung directly to bite Zhao Fan's neck. Fu Ling Lang. Zhao Fan turned into several crows and scattered, and then condensed into another place. Sharingan stared closely at the chimera. I'm afraid no one can challenge this monster, right? Zhao Fan murmured in a low voice. Although he had almost retained the strength of the kick just now, he still used 60 to 70% of it. Converted into strength, it is about 7 or 8 tons of strength. In this way, the monster only lost a head and was not directly kicked to death by him. It can be seen that the defense of this chimera is so strong that its physical strength may have reached the peak of silver. As the goat head died, the chimera stood up directly. At this time, the lion's head's eyes were bright red, and at the same time, flames continued to appear from its mouth. Does it have fire powers? Under Zhao Fan's gaze, the chimera actually started to stand and run, but this time it no longer had the same speed as before. Just like a normal monster, it ran in front of Zhao Fan and waved its claws to attack Zhao Fan. However, at such a speed, Zhao Fan was completely right, and he kicked directly under the lion's head. This time, Zhao Fan used 90% of his strength. I saw the chimera flying directly out of the platform like a cannonball. Seeing this, Zhao Fan also had a hint of curiosity in his eyes. He had tried it before, and it was surrounded by transparent barriers. The platform seemed to be covered by invisible glass. Zhao Fan tried to use the crow to fly out, but failed. Now, can the chimera, who was kicked out by him, break through the transparent barrier? Bang! When the chimera monster flew to the edge of the platform, it stopped as if it hit a wall. At the same time, there were several sounds of broken bones coming from its body. Roar! The chimera roared and fell down. After crawling for a few times, it fell to the ground again. Seeing that this chimera had no ability to resist, Zhao Fan came to its side and planned to end its life directly. The limp python's tail suddenly stood upright and sprayed out a large stream of venom towards Zhao Fan. At the same time, fire flashed in the lion's head, and then it sprayed a fan-shaped flame towards Zhao Fan. However, Zhao Fan, who was standing next to Chimera, seemed to have not seen these attacks and instead took a step closer. Boom! A violent explosion suddenly sounded, shaking the entire platform. Zhao Fan's figure emerged in the air, looking at the place where the explosion occurred with thoughtful eyes. He had just used Itachi's clone to explode, just to prevent the monster's deadly counterattack. The result is self-evident. The monster was killed directly, but the platform was still intact. This chimera monster actually only gave him 5,000 energy points. It was completely different from the 3 times happiness he thought before. Zhao Fan rubbed his eyebrows. He continued to challenge, but his mental energy was still exhausted a lot. Zhao Fan came to the stone pillar and saw a beam of light floating on it. Light. A flash of doubt flashed in Zhao Fan's eyes, and Shizu passed over the reward description. Ability gets 10% bonus. Will it be overridden by one with stronger effects of the same type? Zhao Fan was certain that this was the kind of bonus that Lao San had received. The superpower is directly enhanced by 10%. It is indeed a good reward. Zhao Fan did not hesitate and reached into the light. Then the light disappeared, but Zhao Fan could feel that his Sharingan's pupil power increased by 10% out of thin air, and even the sour feeling after using Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi became less. Is there such an effect? Zhao Fan's eyes lit up. He didn't expect that this bonus had such an effect. Doesn't it mean that if the bonus is large enough, the side effects of Mangekyo can be alleviated? After thinking about it for a while, Zhao Fan shook his head and looked at his energy points. It has reached the level of 150,000. Instead of considering this bonus, it is better to save more energy points. When you reach 100,000 energy, you can choose to load the Sharingan ability again. However, Zhao Fan is not in a hurry. After all, the loadout selection is random, and he is also afraid that he is in trouble. If there is no Uchiha he knows, it would be a waste of energy. The first time I spent 10,000 to get Itachi's Sharingan, this time it cost 100,000, and the third time I'm afraid it cost 1 million. With such an idea, Zhao Fan naturally didn't dare to act casually. Anyway, his current weasel ability was enough and he would fix it later. After Zhao Fan killed the chimera, Shizu no longer prompted whether he wanted to continue the challenge. But after Zhao Fan received the bonus, there was an additional prompt asking Zhao Fan if he wanted to exit the secret realm. Zhao Fan glanced at the uppermost platform in the distance again. He had a hunch that he might come to this secret realm again. After agreeing to exit the secret realm, the same light curtain appeared in the center of the platform just like the entrance to the secret realm. Zhao Fan stepped in directly. When did these half-demon get here? Yan Meng gritted her silver teeth, and the thorns and vines she summoned kept trying to tie up the enemy in front of her. Behind her are Chen Annie and others. Lang Jia stood on the other side and used his powers to continuously condense the earth wall to block the enemy's attacks. Chen Annie was pushed up by her with earth and rocks, causing her to constantly harass the enemy with flames. Qin Shaori was between Yan Meng and Lang Jia, blessing them with light powers from time to time. After they came out of the secret realm, they were a little surprised by the corpses of monster beasts around them. After some inspection, they found that the crystal cores of the monster beasts were gone. Although they were doubtful, because Zhao Fan hadn't come out yet, they just found a place without the smell of blood and waited. As a result, Zhao Fan did not wait. Instead, a demon tiger ran out from the secret realm. As soon as the demon tiger came out, he looked around. After seeing Yan Meng and the girls, they shuddered and ran away quickly. Yan Meng and the girls were stunned for a moment. Then someone came out of the secret realm again. Yan Meng and others thought this should be Zhao Fan's time. But he was immediately startled by the other party's appearance. A man with a wolf head and body, animal claws, and yellow eyes stared straight at Yan Meng and the others. Then they were attacked. Yan Meng also realized that this was the person from the demon temple who specialized in plundering geniuses. After all, he is a student of Sushin Academy, and he is no longer unfamiliar with the demon temple. After all, it is the demon temple that has been trying to plunder geniuses. The academy will naturally publish the information to let more people know about it and become vigilant. These 4 people who suddenly appeared are all half-demon. However, after these half-demon appeared, the battle began. Yan Meng and his girls have always been on the defensive. These half-demon are at the same level as theirs, at the peak of silver, but their physical strength is stronger than each of them. Only Lang Jia, who has the power of thick soil, can resist the opponent's attack. Yan Meng and his girls originally planned to break through to the gold level in the secret realm, but the rules of the secret realm did not allow them to stay in it forever. They can only choose to come out and talk about the breakthrough after returning to the academy. But the half-demon itself is not weak, and is physically stronger and has greater endurance than them. After being so defensive, Yan Meng and the girls were starting to get tired. If they hadn't received some rewards in the secret realm, and if they were conservative and came out after recovering, they would have fallen directly into the hands of these 4 half-demon men. Yan Meng looked at Chen Annie and the others who also looked tired. Junior hasn't come out yet, could it be? Junior is out. At this time, Chen Annie, who was standing at a high place, had sharp eyes and was the first to see a figure appear again in front of the entrance to the secret realm. Shouted immediately. This voice immediately shocked the spirits of several women. But the 4 half-demon men who besieged Yan Meng were not deaf, so they naturally noticed Zhao Fan, who had just walked out of the secret realm. After seeing Zhao Fan's face clearly, the 4 half-demon looked at each other. It's the target. They stopped attacking Yan Meng and the girls. The 4 of them quickly turned around and rushed towards Zhao Fan in a double-team formation. When Zhao Fan just came out of the secret realm, he was still thinking about whether Yan Meng and the girls had come out. In my ears, I heard the shouts of Chen Annie and Yan Meng, as well as a few fast-moving sounds. Junior, be careful. Zhao Fan looked sideways and saw 4 monsters with wolf heads and human bodies attacking him. The look in those yellow eyes moved Zhao Fan's heart. Half-demon, is they targeting me? With Sharingan, anyone with malicious hostility towards him will be noticed by Zhao Fan. The unabashed malice of the 4 monsters in front of him was naturally exposed in his eyes. And it's not murderous intent, but malice. With the memory of Lao San Lao Si, Zhao Fan is naturally no stranger to these half-demon people. Zhao Fan came up with this guess. Junior, they are half-demon. They are very strong. Don't touch them head-on. Yan Meng was extremely anxious and shouted anxiously to Zhao Fan, who seemed to have not yet reacted. At the same time, the girls also quickly chased after the 4 half-demon. Boy, come over here. The half-demon wolf who rushed forward had a ferocious smile on his face and stretched out his claws to catch Zhao Fan. After all, according to the information they received, Zhao Fan has just entered the silver level, and several of his brothers have also entered this secret realm. He just barely passed the 5th level, that is, he survived the siege of 6 monsters. This has improved their strength a lot, and their physical strength has also been greatly increased. Even if Zhao Fan also enters the secret realm, they don't know how many levels Zhao Fan can pass. What's more, they are confident in their own power. Even if they are failures after being demonized, they are physically stronger than normal superpowers. However, the half-demon who rushed at the front saw that Zhao Fan's eyes had been focused on him, and he just tilted his head slightly to avoid his attack, and he could still observe back and forth from his face and paws, when this half-demon suddenly felt something was wrong. This kid can actually capture my movements. Before he and the other half-demon could warn him, he instantly felt his right arm being grabbed by someone, followed by a sudden spin. Bang! He fell heavily to the ground. At this moment, he felt like he was being thrown to the ground like a rag doll. A large human-shaped pit was directly smashed out of the ground. The spine was directly broken and shattered, and there were many signs of fracture along with the bones throughout the body. How is it possible? The half-demon was in severe pain all over his body and felt as if he was in a dream. Zhao Fan straightened up and took a look at the half-demon who was thrown over his shoulder and paralyzed. Not paying attention to the self-doubt in his yellow eyes, he raised his head and nodded to Yan Meng, signaling them not to worry. His eyes fell on the other 3 half-demon men. Half-demon, people from the demon temple came here specifically to catch me. Why? Zhao Fan felt through the half-demon's attack on him that these half-demon were trying to catch him. This made him doubtful. The other 3 half-demon couldn't help but stop at this time, looked at their target Zhao Fan, and then at their captain who was crippled by the fall. A look of uneasiness flashed across the wolf's face. He swallowed, and became extremely cautious when he looked at Zhao Fan again. His eyes were full of fear. They have now determined that the target does not seem to be so easy to deal with. Zhao Fan doesn't care what they are thinking. After all, he can find the answer by himself. Genjutsu, Sharingan. After Sharingan emerged, he directly controlled the opponent, and Zhao Fan began to read their memories. Junior. Why are you so powerful? Seeing how many half-demon men they had struggled to deal with were casually controlled by Zhao Fan. Yan Meng and the other girls couldn't help but feel a chill running down their spines. And Zhao Fan's violent shoulder fall at the beginning made them even more frightened. Junior, this power. Chen Annie also realized at this time that Zhao Fan might not have used all his strength when he was sparring with her before. Otherwise, with this strength alone, she might not be able to withstand even one move. Is there only the memory of the mission given by the demon temple? Zhao Fan directly broke the necks of the 3 half-demon men, and at the same time lightly kicked the crippled half-demon men to death. From their memories, Zhao Fan only found the mission they got from the demon temple, and did not know who gave his information to the demon temple. This made Zhao Fan feel very troublesome. According to his previous speculation, the demon temple would not notice a person with E-level powers like him. Moreover, he came to S City from Z City and did not have much contact with Su Yan. But the appearance of these half-demon people forced Zhao Fan to admit that he was now on the list of the demon temple. This is very annoying. Fortunately, from the memories of these half-demon people, Zhao Fan knew several strongholds of the demon temple in S City. Coupled with the memories of the 3rd and 4th children, this means that Zhao Fan does not know anything about the demon temple. Zhao Fan simply stopped thinking about these things and looked at Yan Meng and the girls. But when he looked at her like this, Yan Meng and the girls suddenly felt guilty and did not dare to look at him. Obviously, his crisp and clean killing of the half-demon still frightened them. In fact, for Zhao Fan, his feeling was only slightly better than the time when he killed Lao San. He didn't feel good in his heart. After all, unlike burning him to ashes with Amaterasu, he killed him with his own hands this time. Zhao Fan could only hint to himself over and over again in his heart, don't let the Holy Mother go, don't be careless, it is right to kill them, etc. Senior, it's already so late, how should we arrange it? At this time, the entire demon forest seemed very dark, and the secret realm light curtain that originally emitted light also became dim at this time. Zhao Fan's voice made Yan Meng's heart tense, but then he relaxed again. Yan Meng was also cheering herself up in her heart. This is her junior fellow student. If he had bad intentions, they would have been killed long ago. Don't be afraid. Then he looked at Zhao Fan and said, Junior, I didn't expect that we completed the academy's tasks in just 1 week after we came out. Let's find a safer place to send the news back. We don't need to control the entrance to the secret realm. There is a time limit for opening the secret realm, and the opening period is uncertain. This secret realm is currently in a dormant state and is temporarily unavailable. Quote. Noticing that Zhao Fan had been looking at the entrance to the secret realm, Yan Meng also explained. Zhao Fan naturally would not object, and the few people left the place where the corpses of monster beasts were everywhere. The rich smell of blood attracted countless monsters, and they were all frightened by the aura of peak silver remaining here. Until these auras gradually dissipated, the monster beasts finally couldn't bear it any longer, and one by one they sprang out of the woods and began to eat the flesh and blood on the ground. By the time Zhao Fan and others left until midnight, nearly 100 monsters had gathered here. Occasionally, several monster beasts would fight over the flesh and blood of a certain monster beast's corpse. This scene was all seen by Zhao Fan, who had been waiting here for a long time. After all, he may not come out soon after completing the mission. There is so much bloody smell here, which will inevitably attract a large number of monsters. Therefore, Zhao Fan still used his crow clone to replace himself in the team. He had been waiting here for a long time. Fortunately, during this trip to the secret realm, his mental power reached almost 4,000 points, and the distance between him and the crow clone increased to more than 5,000 meters, allowing him to expand his range of actions again. It's almost time to harvest. Zhao Fan stood on the tall tree. The moon in this world was brighter and much bigger than the moon in the previous life. Looking at the monsters everywhere, Zhao Fan's right eye widened slightly. Ametellus. Black flames appeared quickly, and as Zhao Fan's sight swept across the monsters everywhere, they quickly covered many monsters. After the monster beast panicked and roared for a short time, there was no trace of the monster beast here anymore. Only the blood stains on the ground and some remaining pieces of meat indicated that monsters had died here. Zhao Fan rubbed his eyes. This time, the opening time of Amaterasu was also controlled within 5 seconds. Therefore, the side effects are not very obvious. There is a brief sting in the eyes and then slowly subsides. A total of 89 monsters were killed, and each monster received an average of 3,000 energy points. A total of 267,000 energy points were obtained. After all, they are all monsters that dare to ignore the aura of peak silver monsters, so their strength is naturally not low. Coupled with the previous 150,000 energy, Zhao Fan's total energy directly exceeded 420,000 energy. Sure enough, as you get stronger, energy points are still easy to collect. Zhao Fan looked at the current energy points and the loadable prompt behind Sharingan. My heart suddenly felt itchy. Zhao Fan still held back. After all, the selection was random, and there was still a sense of ritual. Junior, the news has been sent back to the academy. We can return. There will be high-level superpowers in charge here. In this case, let's go back tomorrow. Zhao Fan did not attract the attention of Yan Meng and the girls, and replaced him with the crow clone. He heard Yan Meng say to him, "Okay, no problem." Zhao Fan nodded. "I want to have a good rest when I get back. Relax, then I will practice to reach the gold level." Chen Annie stretched her body and said. The eyes of Yan Meng and the girls flickered, they also had the same idea. As long as you go back and adjust, you will be ready to rise to the gold level. As they get along with each other in the demon forest these days, Zhao Fan and Yan Meng have become more familiar with each other. The night took turns to keep vigil and passed quickly. The return journey is faster, and because Zhao Fan used the Amaterasu group to destroy a wave of monsters, there are basically few monsters nearby. It will take at least a few days before new monsters will be added from other places. Soon, it took half a day for Zhao Fan and others to return to the East City Gate. After entering the city, we directly found a hotel to stay. Having been living in the demon forest for nearly a week, Yan Meng and the girls have long wanted to take a good bath. Zhao Fan was in his room and quickly cleaned himself up. He now continues to load up on Mangekyo abilities. He solemnly prayed to the system. Then I clicked on Sharingan and loaded it. Please host select the currently loadable Mangekyo abilities. Currently available options: Iron Fire, Fugaku, Obito, Shin. Fugaku. After seeing Fugaku among the choices given by the system, Zhao Fan couldn't help but think. If he chooses Fugaku's Mangekyo now, is it possible to directly obtain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan? After all, Fugaku was Itachi's blood relative. When he saw Obito, Zhao Fan immediately threw this idea out of his mind. There's Obito. Are you kidding me? Even if it is eternal Mangekyo, compared to Obito's Kamui, Kamui is still more attractive. After all, the choice of Obito may not appear, and the eternal Mangekyo is also a possibility, but it is not certain. But Zhao Fan knows that as long as he has enough energy points, eternal Mangekyo will not be a problem. The chance of getting Obito randomly is not that easy. Phew, come on. Zhao Fan let out a breath and directly chose Obito Mangekyo. This time, Zhao Fan suddenly felt a special pupil power appear in his eyes. It is somewhat similar to Mangekyo who turned on Itachi, but the changes caused are completely different. There was still a slight bulging feeling, and at the same time, Zhao Fan began to feel a little sense of the surrounding space. This induction increases as the pupillary force operates in both eyes. As this Kamui space. At this time, the pattern of Sharingan in Zhao Fan's eyes changed again. It was no longer the sickle and windmill of Weasel, but turned into the narrow sickle and dart shape. Soon, Zhao Fan felt that there was a space in his eyes that only he could detect. At the same time, Mangekyo's information also flooded into his mind. No wonder they say Obito's eyes are the pinnacle of Sharingan. This passive ability is too strong. Zhao Fan murmured in a low voice, and at the same time, he took out the spear directly from the ring and stabbed himself in the chest. It was as if the chest didn't exist, and the spear penetrated directly through it. If someone looked at Zhao Fan from the side, someone who didn't know better would have thought that he had committed suicide because he couldn't think about it. With this passive ability, you are basically invincible, right? You must know that he is now deliberately using Kamui, and the consumption of eye power is not huge. Zhao Fan carefully felt Obito Mangekyo's ability. Due to system reasons, he had the pupil power of Obito's 2 eyes. Passive ability, virtualization is no longer 5 minutes in the original book, but 8 minutes. But if Zhao Fan wants to move, teleport, or capture people into Kamui space, he needs to turn on Mangekyo to use it. Zhao Fan felt that his mental power began to surge after he gained the power of Mangekyo again, and he felt much safer in his heart. Itachi's Mangekyo has a powerful genjutsu bonus when it comes to Sanmagatama. Obito's Mangekyo is to directly ignore any attack when using the 3 Magatama. Zhao Fan was very satisfied. As long as he was careful and the enemy didn't catch him attacking, no attack could hit him. Zhao Fan could feel his mental power growing, and he had felt this way before when he obtained Itachi's Mangekyo. Zhao Fan simply didn't care, and then looked at his own panel. He didn't forget that he also unlocked Itachi's skills. I just don't know what it would be like for him to unlock Obito's skills. Sure enough, an activated word also appeared behind Obito. After taking a look at the energy value that was missing by 100,000, Zhao Fan did not hesitate and continued to activate. Does host activate the skill bar of the currently loaded character? 100,000 energy points are required. Also 100,000. Zhao Fan's eyelids twitched. Could it be that unlocking Weasel before was actually given to him by the system at a discount? However, based on the feeling of my hometown system, it seems that this is indeed possible. Thinking like this, Zhao Fan chose to activate, and the energy points were reduced by 100,000 again. Then there was an additional page of skills owned by Obito in the ability skill column. Zhao Fan took a closer look and felt overjoyed. There's even wood style ninjutsu here. Not to mention Obito's fire style, earth style ninjutsu, wood style cutting technique, great forest technique, hell's chaos, etc. And after system changes, Zhao Fan can release these skills with only mental and physical strength. The so-called wood style ninjutsu is no different from the wood style power. The only difference is that Zhao Fan can only use the skills on the side and can perform a certain degree of change control, but it does not mean that he has wood powers. After reading this information, Zhao Fan still felt a little regretful. He could use Obito's wood style, but without Hashirama cells, the side effects of Mangekyo Sharingan were still relatively strong. He can't just go wherever he wants like Obito in the original work. This leads Zhao Fan not to use Mangekyo too frequently, but in moderation. After absorbing all the information, the system unexpectedly sent another message to Zhao Fan. The current loaded abilities cannot be used at the same time. Can they be used at the same time after upgrading the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan? Upgrading the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan requires energy points, only 1 million. Chapter 51. Zhao Fan thought, if this was the case, wouldn't it mean that he couldn't use Kamui to do other things while using the Crow clone? Pity. Zhao Fan shook his head, so that he should be more careful every time he uses Sharingan's ability. Sharingan faded away, and Zhao Fan lay on the bed refreshed. After finishing this matter, Zhao Fan felt relaxed all over, otherwise he would have felt a little uncomfortable thinking about it all the time. Now in the city, there is no need to worry about other dangers. For a while, Zhao Fan lay on the bed and fell asleep. How are you? Are you awake? In the hospital in S City, the strong man guarding the city was standing outside a ward asking the doctor. No, we have used all the healing powers, but we still can't wake him up. The doctor in a white coat shook his head, feeling very depressed. This patient was brought here by the city defenders 6 days ago, so they naturally would not neglect him. Then I found out that this was a student from Sushin Seminary, and I became even more interested. However, after a series of examinations and treatments, it was discovered that the patient had recovered, but was still unable to wake up. Alas, after all of us checked, the patient's mental power is in a state of silence, without any mental consciousness at all. I'm afraid it will be difficult to treat him with ordinary healing powers and existing technology. Now he is in a vegetative state. Listening to the doctor's words, the strong man guarding the city also looked helpless. He also wanted to get some information from Wang Jianshu. After his investigation, he found that the missing people were 5 of the team led by Wang Jianshu, and the other 4 had returned that day. After they inquired, they found nothing. All I know is that there was another silver team from Sushin Academy in the Demon Forest at that time. After confirming that Wang Jianshu still couldn't wake up, the strong man in charge of the city gave up hope. After sending the matter to Sushin College, he left. They've returned to the city. In a tall building, a person sat on the boss's chair and looked at the scenery outside the floor-to-ceiling window. And there was someone next to him reporting something to him. Yes, boss, there are no signs of injury at all when they come back. And our people haven't come back yet, so I'm afraid the mission has failed. The man sitting had no expression on his face, as if the scenery outside the window was very attractive. Have you sent all the 5 materials before? It's been delivered. They said it's just not complete, but the rest is fine. Well, let's do this for now. Boss, what do you think of the secret realm outside the demon forest? Speaking of the secret realm, the boss's eyes flickered slightly, and then he spoke. Ignore it for now and follow the plan. It's just a silver secret realm. Yes, have all the arrangements been made? They all succeeded. The equipment specially made by the experimental department can block the detection of the sacred artifacts of the Theological Academy for a certain period of time, so the operation went smoothly. The boss stood up directly from his chair, stood in front of the panoramic floor-to-ceiling windows, looked down at the passers-by outside, and spoke slowly. Then let's start from City S first. In the seminary. Are you saying that all of you were affected or even controlled by one person's hallucination? The 4 of them, Dolly and the little man, were looking at the man in front of them carefully. He is the eldest brother in Wang Jianshu's words, Wang Zheng, a genius student from Su Seminary. A-level Zheng metal power. Much stronger than ordinary metal power. This time, with the help of the spiritual gold essence Wang Jianshu obtained from Yanmeng and others, he successfully reached the 4th level of gold. In order to reward Wang Jianshu, he specifically told Wang Jianshu the location of the spiritual gold fruit found in the demon forest. As a result, the 4 people in front of them now actually said that they were defeated by a person using hallucinations, and they have not yet obtained the spiritual gold fruit. This made Wang Zheng feel a little strange. Not to mention Wang Jianshu's strength, he helped Wang Jianshu arrange the 4 Dolly people in front of him. It can be said that they are ranked in the top 10 or above among all the silver teams. However, Wang Zheng found that Wang Jianshu was not here, so he asked. What about Jianshu? Where are the others? Why didn't they come with you? Wang Zheng, who was so happy that he had successfully risen to a higher level after completing his training, didn't think much about it. He just thought that Wang Jianshu had something to do and was delayed. Dolly and the little man looked at each other, as if they didn't know what to say. What's going on? Just tell me. Seeing their reactions, Wang Zheng couldn't help but frown, and suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. After Dolly and others struggled for a while, the little man stood up and spoke to Wang Zheng cautiously. He seems to be in a vegetative state. When they said this, sweat almost broke out on their faces. Who didn't know that Wang Jianshu and Wang were cousins from the same family? What? The gold-level Kamui pressure directly filled the entire room. Dolly and the others suddenly felt their bodies sinking. They did not dare to resist and could only bend down under the pressure. Wang Zheng was stunned at this moment, followed by anger. Wang Jianshu has always been good, how could he suddenly become a vegetative state? Wang Zheng lost his joy after the breakthrough for a while, looked at Dolly and the others with sharp eyes, and said in a cold voice, "You guys, tell me everything about Wang Jianshu after he left the city this time." Dolly and others told Wang Jung everything about their meeting with Zhao Fan and others, their actions, and how they woke up after fainting and then returned to the city and were questioned by the city guard. Yan Meng and the others actually recruited men into the team. After Wang Jung heard this, he narrowed his eyes and a stern look flashed in his eyes. Zhao Fan, has E-level pupil skills just entered the silver level. Wang Jung suddenly stood up. Is this Zhao Fan the Zhao Fan he knows? Newcomer, pupil technique, still E-level. Wang Jung glanced at Dolly and the others coldly. Being defeated by such a person, no matter what the reason, made Wang Jung feel bad towards Dolly and others. Of course, according to the information he knew, there must be something unusual about Zhao Fan. Jianshu should have left directly after that. What happened to him? From what Dolly and others said, it was learned that the city guard discovered Wang Jianshu at the outermost area of the demon forest, which meant that Wang Jianshu planned to come back directly after being defeated by Zhao Fan and the others. This made Wang Jung very confused. What happened to Wang Jianshu to turn a peak silver superpower into a vegetative state? Wang Jung was thinking, and he took Dolly and others and quickly rushed to the hospital in S City. After all, let's go and see how the situation is before deciding on the next action. His younger brother Wang Jung, even if he is a cousin, not everyone can bully him. Junior, it's time to have dinner. With a knock on the door and Chen Annie's shout, Zhao Fan, who had fallen asleep unknowingly, was woken up. Okay, wait a moment. After Zhao Fan responded, he realized something was wrong. Now he felt very great. As soon as I stretched my body, I heard several cracks from my bones, and at the same time my whole body was filled with a sense of strength. This feeling, Zhao Fan's eyes shone brightly, and he directly put the spear he took out before into his hand, feeling like picking up a wooden stick. With another slight twist, the dark gold spear that originally had the strength of silver was twisted into a twist. This power, Zhao Fan's eyes lit up and he immediately opened his attribute panel. Host, Zhao Fan, Power Core Mangekyo Sharingan Ability Loading, Itachi, Obito currently a level. Skills Martial Arts Grandmaster, Mental Power Control, Illumination, Disguise, etc. Ability Skill Column Itachi, Obito Ninjutsu Skills. Mental Power 5018 Gold level, 10,000 Ordinary Crystal Energy equals 100 points of improvement. Strength 660 Gold level, 1 point of force equals 100 caddies. Body 662. Min 664. Energy points 224,000 plus energy points. Looking at the system panel this time, Zhao Fan saw that it was different from the previous interface. First of all the values on the panel are now golden. This is true for both mental strength and physical strength attributes. It turns out I'm already at the gold level. Looking at the words, gold level, after the spiritual attribute, Zhao Fan realized belatedly that he was already gold. Zhao Fan quickly immersed himself in his own spiritual space. When you reach the gold level, you need to condense your superpower core. Zhao Fan also wants to see what his superpower core looks like. He couldn't help it if he was promoted to gold just by sleeping. If he told this, not to anyone else, Yan Meng and the other girls would be shocked as to how he did it. As the core of my power the Sharingan. When Zhao Fan came to his spiritual space, he saw that his spiritual power was like a lake, and above the lake, there was a pair of Sharingan. For such a result, Zhao Fan can only say that it is a bit novel, but it is also expected. When his consciousness returned to reality, Zhao Fan glanced at the twisted dark gold spear. Somewhat distressed. After all, he spent money to buy it, and it only took less than a week, and it was so useless. After sighing, Zhao Fan knew that with his current strength, it would be difficult for ordinary silver-level players to break through his defense. Moreover, Zhao Fan speculated that with his current physical strength, he might be considered good at the gold level. I have speculated before that the most basic thing for the gold level is to reach 10 tons of destructive power. Just like the demonized Lao San before, 10 tons of power is the threshold of silver and gold. Now, Zhao Fan's full punch has a force of 33 tons, which is 3 times the standard. What's more, Under normal circumstances, the gold level requires the use of supernatural powers to exert a destructive power of 10 tons and above. The physical strength is so that the supernatural powers that reach this power will not put a burden on the body. Now Zhao Fan only needs 30% of his strength to achieve such an effect based on his physical strength alone. If it weren't for Zhao Fan's attribute that the system automatically adapts to improve, Zhao Fan might not even be able to leave the room. The superpower level is still a level. Even when the double Mangekyo of Itachi and Obito were superimposed, the power level did not increase, which made Zhao Fan's lips twitch. Then he took a deep breath, and his mental power quickly surged out. When he reached the gold level, he could let his mental power leave his body. A particular way comes to mind automatically, like instinct. It is a natural reaction of the body's evolution. Zhao Fan's feet gradually left the ground, and his whole body slowly floated up. Only when you reach the gold level can you float. This consumes a lot of money. Feeling the continuous consumption of mental power, he floated less than 1 meter away from the ground. The consumption of mental power would reach 1% in a few seconds. If it were any higher, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to hold on for a few minutes. Zhao Fan returned to the ground and Fukong also felt it. It was time to go out and join Yan Meng and the others. Perhaps because they were back in the city, Yan Meng and the girls became particularly excited at this time. After dinner, they went shopping, but Zhao Fan didn't follow them. He was a homeboy in his previous life, but he didn't have the inclination to go shopping with a girl. I went straight back to sleep. It was impossible to practice cultivation anyway. However, what makes Zhao Fan uncomfortable is that the energy in the air in ordinary urban areas is not strong, which makes his automatic point addition practice only increase by 1. It's better to go back to the academy as soon as possible. With this thought, the night passed quickly. The next day, Zhao Fan, Yan Meng and others returned to Sushin Academy. When they entered the academy, Zhao Fan heard the sounds of students talking around them. Hey, do you know that Wang Jianshu? I know, what's wrong? He's in a vegetative state. Oh no, is it real or fake? Real, tell me quickly, what's going on? That is. Zhao Fan listened to more or less people around him talking about Wang Jianshu. This news has been sent back to the academy. At this moment, one of the voices caught his attention. It seems that Wang Jianshu's eldest brother Wang Zheng is out of prison. Is that Wang Zheng who rose to gold with his own strength? Yes, I heard that Wang Jianshu had a fight with goddess Yan Meng and the others before he became a vegetative state. So Wang Zheng wanted to find Yan Meng and the others. How is Wang Zheng's strength now that he's out of seclusion? Hey, let me tell you this, if my brother-in-law's uncle's son's girlfriend hadn't been my classmate, I wouldn't have known that Wang Zheng is already in the 4th grade of gold. What? This Wang Zheng actually rose to another level in just a few months. Then aren't the goddesses and the others in trouble? Yeah, hey, look, look. The goddesses are back. The students who were talking also noticed that Yan Meng and the other girls had returned. While they were looking at Yan Meng and the others with aesthetic eyes, they were also looking at Zhao Fan with disgust. Obviously, the appearance of a new student like Zhao Fan in the Leon team naturally made many people uncomfortable. Even if they knew that the team of silver-level students was indeed full, they should still feel unhappy. In addition, Zhao Fan was promoted to the silver level on his first day as a freshman, and many senior students who were still in the bronze class looked at him with disgust. Hearing these discussions, Zhao Fan's heart moved. Wang Zheng, Wang Jianshu's eldest brother. Zhao Fan's mind was spinning. Speaking of which, Wang Jianshu and Wang Zheng both had the surname Wang, which reminded him of the Wang group. I don't know if there is any connection between the two. Zhao Fan and the others were not slow, and Yan Meng and the others did not look around. They went directly to the team window, settled the mission, and at the same time sold the collected monster crystal cores and materials. The exploration mission points are not high, only 500 points, 100 points per person. The harvest of monster crystal core materials is almost 1,500 points. After all, the time is still too short, and the harvest is not much, 300 points per person. In this way, Zhao Fan got 400 points. With the points in hand, Zhao Fan directly opened the college mall and checked it out. Previously, he originally planned to buy thunder spirits in the mall and use them as energy points for the system. But after going to the secret realm, and since he still has a deposit of 200,000 energy points, naturally he can no longer do that. This trip to the demon forest made him know the direction in which he needed to improve. Although the physical attributes increase every day, the mental power and three-dimensional attributes are not the same. The increase of mental power by a few points is much slower than the improvement of strength, and it is not enough for him to advance in a short period of time. So Zhao Fan decided to find some gold-level spiritual objects to improve his spiritual power. Here, the mission is over, and Yan Meng and the other girls did not stay too long. They had rested yesterday and relaxed in the evening. Naturally, they were ready to rise to the gold level. Just as Yan Meng and the others greeted Zhao Fan and quickly left the training hall, they walked to the door. Yan Meng. 5 people stopped directly in front of Yan Meng and the others. Upon hearing this voice, Yan Meng looked at the man in front of her with disgust flashing in her eyes. Wang Zheng, what do you want to do? Wang Zheng had a cold look on his face, and it could be seen that he was not in a very good mood now. Said directly to Yan Meng. Where's Zhao Fan? There was a slight chill in the voice, which shocked Yan Meng. What was going on? They have not yet reached the gold level and cannot directly hear the discussions of the surrounding students like Zhao Fan. What's more, all they want to do is to quickly hand in the task and practice to break through to the gold level. Naturally, he didn't pay much attention to the surrounding sounds. So when I saw Wang Zheng, I felt a burst of anger rising in my heart when I was confused. What? The talented student is not enough to instruct Wang Zhanshu to cause trouble for us, but he also wants to deal with us himself. I'm telling you Wang Zheng, Zhao Fan is now also a member of the Lian team. Wang Zhanshu let you come to the rescue because he suffered a loss. Can't you afford to lose? Yan Meng just questioned Wang Zheng, and Chen Annie on the side couldn't help but speak out. As soon as she saw Wang Zheng's face, she wanted to rush up and tear it off. Naturally, it is not polite to speak like this. Wang Zheng looked gloomy, glanced at Chen Annie, and then glanced at the 4 women in front of him. His brows furrowed deeply, but he wasn't there. Tell me, where is Zhao Fan now? What are you looking for, junior brother Zhao Fan? Wang Zheng, please don't bully others casually, okay? If you have anything to do, come to me. Yan Meng's words made Wang Zheng look at her deeply. Yan Meng, you can't afford this. Wang Zhanshu, he has become a vegetative state. It can be said that Wang Zheng knows Yan Meng and the girls very well, but they don't have the ability to turn Wang Zhanshu into a vegetative state. What? Wang Zhanshu became a vegetative state. Upon hearing the news, Yan Meng and the other girls were shocked. They immediately thought that after Wang Zhanshu left, Zhao Fan also disappeared for a while. Could it really be done by a junior? After these few days of getting along, Yan Meng and the girls have certainly discovered that Zhao Fan's strength may be much greater than theirs. So Yan Meng naturally has such an association. But Lenovo belongs to Lenovo. They can think about this matter in their hearts, but they can't say it out loud. Wang Zheng, we are very sorry that Wang Zhanshu became a vegetative state. I think you already know what happened at that time. Yan Meng also glanced at the powerful little men following Wang Zheng, with a flash of disgust in his eyes. Wang Zhanshu left after they were unconscious. We don't know what happened to him after that. It's useless to look for Zhao Fan. Yan Meng stared at Wang Zheng. At this time, Wang Zheng was obviously in a bad mood, so she still explained. Yan Meng still knew about the relationship between Wang Zhanshu and Wang Zheng. They were cousins in the same family. They have always been colluding, Hang Xie. However, Wang Zheng didn't seem to listen to her words, or to him. What happened at that time was not important. The important thing is that now that Wang Zhanshu is still lying on the hospital bed, someone must bear his anger for this matter. If Zhao Fan is the Zhao Fan he knows. Axie, there's nothing good. Zhao Fan frowned at this time and looked at the mall interface. After some searching, he could not find the spiritual object that suited his practice. Moreover, he only now discovered that the Academy Mall originally had level restrictions. Silver level can only see things that silver level can use. The gold level ones are not visible at all. Although Zhao Fan can understand that this is to prevent the Academy from having silver level students who aim too high and absorb gold level spiritual objects to practice, causing the body to be unable to withstand injuries or the like. But he is now at the gold level, and the silver level spiritual objects can only be used to recharge energy points for him. Is it possible to go through level certification again? Zhao Fan thought in his mind. If he wanted to obtain spiritual objects that met the level in the college mall, he would have to recertify his level. But how long did it take for him to come to the academy after all his hard work? It wasn't even 10 days, and his last level certification was a week ago. Zhao Fan understood that the sensation caused by him if he were certified again would naturally not be comparable to that of the silver rank. It's really troublesome. Zhao Fan couldn't help but feel a little irritable. With his current strength, he could also hear what Yan Meng and the girls were saying. I also knew that Wang Zheng was coming. Seeing Wang Zheng's attitude as if he was determined to find him, Zhao Fan simply stopped looking at the mall and walked directly towards Yan Meng and the girls. Yan Meng, all I need to know is where Zhao Fan is. Otherwise, don't blame me for turning your back on him. Wang Zheng was already very impatient at this time. He still liked Yan Meng in his heart, but now Yan Meng was constantly protecting her for a man who had just joined their team. This naturally made his intention to cause trouble for Zhao Fan even more serious. Brother Zheng, that is Zhao Fan. It was the little man on the side who interrupted Wang Zheng and pointed behind Yan Meng and the girls and shouted. Wang Zheng looked directly over with gloomy eyes and saw a young man who looked as handsome as the reader walking over. The pupils suddenly shrank. Seeing Zhao Fan's handsome appearance, Wang Zheng suddenly felt uncomfortable. Wang Zheng, what do you want from me? As soon as Zhao Fan came over, he didn't care that Chen Annie kept winking at him. His eyes fell on Wang Zheng. After all, he had already met the 5 people in front of him, including Dolly and the little man. This is the only one I've never seen that looks pretty good looking. It must be Wang Zheng. However, does it seem familiar? Zhao Fan was thinking in his mind, looked at Wang Zheng carefully, and suddenly had a guess in his mind. Could it be that this is Wang Dan's eldest brother? No, he's about the same age, so he should be the second brother. At this time, Wang Zheng's attention was no longer on Yan Meng and the others. Looking at Zhao Fan looking up and down, he said with a cold smile on his face. Zhao Fan, it's really you. Thanks to your gift, my brother has been unable to practice till now. Since you have come to Su Seminary, I, as an elder brother, have to thank you very much. Quote, brother, can't practice. When Yan Meng and the girls heard this, they also realized that Wang Zheng might have known about Zhao Fan for a long time, and this time it might not just be because of Wang Zhanshu. Zhao Fan's eyes flashed when he heard Wang Zheng's words. Sure enough, this was Wang Dan's brother. However, before Zhao Fan could speak, he noticed a mental wave coming from Wang Zheng, and then gold-level Kamui pressure descended on him. Zhao Fan's eyelids twitched, but he was not affected by Wang Zheng's pressure, and there was no unnecessary fluctuation in his mental power, but his eyes towards Wang Zheng became sharp. Haha, Wang Zheng, you are too polite. Don't worry, you will thank me properly. Zhao Fan looked at Wang Zheng and said meaningfully. Wang Zheng's eyes flickered slightly. Looking at Zhao Fan who was completely unaffected by him, he became more certain about Zhao Fan's guess. Of course, he didn't even think about Zhao Fan reaching the golden level. After all, time is too short. Even so, his desire to know Zhao Fan's secret deepened again. Hearing Zhao Fan's words, a flash of anger flashed in his eyes, but Wang Zheng did not get angry immediately but asked Zhao Fan. Did you do what happened to Wang Zhanshu? When he went to visit Wang Zhanshu, he found that the state was very similar to Wang Dan's previous coma. Although it was a bit far-fetched to say this, when Wang Zheng heard Zhao Fan's name, he felt that it must have something to do with Zhao Fan. Even if the city defenders told him that they were related to a terrorist organization, 5 students had disappeared, and there was still no news until now. Wang Zheng was also a little unsure, but he still carefully observed Zhao Fan's reaction. Zhao Fan narrowed his eyes and looked at the gloomy expression on Wang Zheng's face. Wang Zheng, you actually came over to ask me about this kind of thing. How is Wang Zhanshu? It's none of my business. Based on the pressure just now, Zhao Fan had no intention of talking to Wang Zhejiang. The pressure of a gold-level person could completely make a new silver-level superpower lying on the ground. Wang Zheng just wanted Zhao Fan to make a fool of himself in public. If he hadn't thought about whether to expose his gold rank now, otherwise Zhao Fan would definitely let Wang Zheng know what "thank you" means. Zhao Fan. The words, "none of my business," made Wang Zheng's body tremble slightly, his breathing became heavy, and he said through gritted teeth. Yan Meng and the other girls looked at Wang Zheng with wary expressions, and even stood together with Zhao Fan, always on guard against Wang Zheng's actions regardless of the academy's rules. Wang Zheng kept suppressing the anger in his heart and stared at Zhao Fan. He didn't see anything from Zhao Fan's face, but he was very angry at Zhao Fan's attitude. Looking at Zhao Fan repeatedly ignoring him, you must know that after becoming a genius student, he has always been true to his word. Few people dare to look down upon him like this. And Zhao Fan not only hurt his brother Wang Dan, but was also related to Wang Zhanshuo's affairs, and now he is even more contemptuous of him. A kid whose parents are not even here, why should he? For a moment, Wang Zheng felt that His Majesty had been seriously challenged. He was almost going to take action against Zhao Fan. Fortunately, Yan Meng's actions gave him some sense. Zhao Fan, you should be lucky that this is Sushin Academy. Otherwise, I will definitely make you regret what you have done. Wang Zheng looked at Zhao Fan sternly and left without looking back. He was afraid that if he saw Zhao Fan's indifferent eyes again, he really couldn't help but take action. You know, if you do anything casually in Sushin Academy, the punishment can be said to be more severe. It can range from being expelled from the academy to being killed on the spot. Wang Zheng still dared not ignore the rules of the academy. Looking at Wang Zheng's leaving figure, the strong malice and murderous intent clearly appeared in Zhao Fan's perception. Genius student, I'm so scared. Zhao Fan knew that from this distance, Wang Zheng could hear him, so he deliberately said in a strange way. The academy actually provides a place for students to fight. Zhao Fan originally thought that Wang Zheng would bring it up to teach him a lesson. After all, there were such plots in the books he had read in his previous life. Since Wang Zheng didn't do this, he probably had a deeper plan. Zhao Fan thought so in his heart and wrote down something in his notebook. Sure enough, when he heard Zhao Fan's voice, Wang Zheng's body trembled, his malice became stronger again, and he quickly left here. Since I can't ask anything from Zhao Fan, it doesn't matter. Zhao Fan, you must be careful about this Wang Zheng. He is a narrow-minded person and will retaliate. Someone provoked him before, but he died in the middle of the mission within a few days. So as long as you don't leave the academy, Junior, he can't do anything to you. When Yan Meng and the other girls saw Wang Zheng leaving, they turned to Zhao Fan and said seriously. Don't worry, senior sister, I understand. Zhao Fan, who has a clear sense of malice, naturally understands what kind of person Wang Zheng is. But now he is not afraid. If Wang Zheng really dares to provoke him, it will be Wang Zheng himself who regrets it. As Wang Zheng, who was blocking the road, had left, Yan Meng and the girls stopped staying here. After repeatedly telling Zhao Fan to pay attention to his safety, the girls went to prepare for a breakthrough. Zhao Fan thought for a while and decided to certify the level again so that he could find resources for cultivation in the mall. And after reaching the gold level, you can go out alone. As for the consequences, the troops will come to block the water and the earth will cover it up. Anyway, with Kamui, as long as he doesn't attack, no one can catch him. At this moment, a person suddenly ran over quickly from a distance. Looking at the speed at which he runs, he is a speed-type user. Zhao Fan, the teacher is looking for you. Teacher Zhou, are you looking for me? Zhao Fan looked at Zhou Qinghan in front of him with doubts in his heart. Unexpectedly, as soon as he came back from his mission, Qinghan asked someone to come over and call him this week. He could only put aside the matter of level certification first and follow the classmate to Zhou Qinghan's office. Yes, Zhao Fan, you are here. Zhou Qinghan stared at the document in his hand, frowned, and said to Zhao Fan without raising his head. Sit down first, I'll finish these things first. Even though he was here, Zhao Fan was not in a hurry. He sat down directly on the sofa nearby and began to observe Teacher Zhou, whom he was meeting for the second time. The teacher gave him the feeling from the beginning that he knew him well. After about 10 minutes, Zhou Qinghan put down the document, raised his head and looked at Zhao Fan, just about to speak. His body shook violently. Got the gold. Zhou Qinghan's pupils suddenly shrank, and he looked at Zhao Fan with a shocked look, as if he were looking at a monster. Zhao Fan, when did you reach the gold level? Zhou Qinghan couldn't believe her eyes, but with her strength it was absolutely impossible to make a mistake. The condensed mental power of Zhao Fan in front of her, as well as the aura emanating from the newly condensed superpower core, told her that Zhao Fan was already at the gold level. How long has it been since? Genius. Teacher, it was yesterday. Zhao Fan also didn't expect that Zhou Qinghan could know his level just by looking at him. What kind of strength does Zhou Qinghan have? Sensing the way Zhou Qinghan looked at him, Zhao Fan had no choice but to answer honestly. Now that you have gold, this matter will be easier to handle. After a moment of silence, Zhou Qinghan calmed down the shock in his heart. Zhou Qinghan also accepted Zhao Fan's change at this time. Although it was incredible, she did not ask how Zhao Fan was promoted in such a short period of time. After calming down, Zhou Qinghan said to Zhao Fan, who looked confused. I know Zhao Li and Sun Ming. This sentence made Zhao Fan suddenly realize. I see. However, how are the principal and teachers of No. 1 middle school and the teachers of Sushin College related to each other? Although Zhao Fan's current strength is not high, he can still feel that the strength of Zhou Qinghan in front of him is probably much higher than that of Zhao Li and Sun Ming. At the same time, the improvement of his own strength makes Zhao Fan naturally want to know more information. After all, these things revolve around him. But now he doesn't know the reason at all. Zhao Fan, do you know how your parents disappeared? Zhou Qinghan's next words made Zhao Fan's heart skip a beat. They were framed by someone. Zhao Fan could feel his heart beating strongly and uneasily. When he heard Zhou Qinghan say this, he became excited unconsciously. Teacher, who is it? Zhao Fan looked at Zhou Qinghan, and Sharingan was revealed unconsciously. Seeing the change in Zhao Fan's eyes, Zhou Qinghan was slightly startled, and then after realizing that this was Zhao Fan's pupil technique, he nodded secretly in his heart. She could feel that those eyes had a special power. Zhao Fan, don't worry, after all, you are still too weak now. While speaking, a cool energy appeared around Zhao Fan at the same time, causing Zhao Fan, who was still a little excited, to shiver instantly and calm down. Sharingan quickly faded away. For a moment, Zhao Fan frowned. He already felt that something was wrong with him. Last time when Wang Zhanshou talked about his parents, he suddenly felt angry in his heart. But this time, when Zhou Qinghan said that his parents were framed, his body reacted like this again. Does the original consciousness still exist? Can it affect myself? Or some other reason? Zhao Fan kept thinking in his heart, while mentally exploring every corner of his body, but found nothing. Helpless, Zhao Fan gave up, and there was a saying of cause and effect in his hometown. Since he traveled through time and used his original body, naturally he had to pay him back a share of the result. In this case, when you are strong enough, you should first rescue the original parents. After making this decision in his heart, Zhao Fan also felt that the abnormality in his body had returned to normal. Then, why did the teacher come to see me? Zhao Fan naturally had no objection to Zhou Qinghan saying that he was too weak. After all, it was a fact. Actually, there are too many things involved about your parents. Zhou Qinghan looked at Zhao Fan, who was listening carefully, and said. So if you want to save your parents and understand their information, first of all, your strength must reach the star level at least. Zhou Qinghan's words moved Zhao Fan's heart. His memory of his original parents did not contain any information about their strength. According to Zhou Qinghan, only those with star-level strength are qualified to know the information about his parents. I'm afraid his parents are not simple either. Of course, it is not a simple matter for the original parents. Zhao Fan had already guessed it through Sun Ming and others. Okay, don't think about it so much now, just work hard to improve yourself. Zhou Qinghan looked at Zhao Fan and said with a hint of warmth in his eyes. There is a gold-level exploration secret realm that has just appeared, and resources need to be explored and developed. Zhao Fan listened quietly. Because 5 students are missing in the demon forest this time, and you also encountered a half-demon, the academy sent people to follow the traces and track them down. After some investigation, it was found that the location where the clues disappeared was near this secret place. Quote. So, the academy speculates that the demon temple should also know about this secret realm. Just in case, the Academy called together the currently available gold-level students to form a team to explore the secret realm. Zhou Qinghan paused and adjusted his sitting posture slightly. The mission requirement is to kill the people in the demon temple you encounter, collect resources, and the college will divide it 50-50. However, there are many illusion restrictions in this secret realm, which are enough to affect gold-level superpowers. In addition, people from the demon temple may appear, so someone needs to be able to deal with the illusion or break it. Zhou Qinghan looked at Zhao Fan and said in a serious tone. And in the academy, although there are many students with supernatural powers who have hallucinations, not many have reached the level of hallucinations, let alone those whose strength reaches the gold level. Based on your performance in the newcomer secret realm, Zhao Fan, your pupil skills should have reached the level of the illusion. So, you can also participate in this mission. Originally, I was worried that you were not strong enough, but now that I see that you have reached the gold level, I feel relieved. Of course, Zhao Fan, if you need anything, you can tell me directly and I will try my best to satisfy you. After hearing what Zhou Qinghan said, Zhao Fan was even more confused. Teacher, the academy knows why the demon temple. Zhao Fan wanted to know why the academy didn't clear out the demon temple. Zhou Qinghan naturally understood what Zhao Fan meant. But she shook her head at Zhao Fan and did not answer the question. Seeing this, Zhao Fan realized that this might be the reason why he was not strong enough. Lost in thought for a while, what Zhou Qinghan expressed was that he needed to improve himself as soon as possible. Do you want to train him? Moreover, this golden level secret realm is still related to the illusion. It can be said that if Zhao Fan really has pure fantasy powers, he will definitely be greatly improved in this secret realm. However, Zhou Qinghan's doing this made Zhao Fan feel anxious. There seemed to be other reasons. But no matter what, since Zhou Qinghan has said this, Zhao Fan will not be polite. No matter what they want to do or what they want to train him for. As long as you improve your strength, there will be no problem. It just so happened that he couldn't stay idle after he reached the gold level, and such a secret realm still suited his taste. Thinking of this, Zhao Fan looked at Zhou Qinghan and said, Okay, teacher, I need resources that can enhance my mental power. Anything will do, no limit. Zhou Qinghan was slightly relieved when he heard Zhao Fan agreed, but when he heard the three words, unlimited, at the end, he immediately wanted to spray Zhao Fan to death with a mouthful of salt soda. At the gold level, it is difficult to develop resources for cultivation. Even if the Dragon Kingdom keeps looking for new secret realms, it is only just enough. Zhao Fan actually wants to limit the limit. How dare he? She glanced at Zhao Fan angrily, but Zhou Qinghan didn't care about it. She turned over it and a piece of jade with a light golden luster appeared in her hand. This is. When Zhao Fan saw this piece of jade, he felt that his mental power began to increase slightly, just like when he met the Lingjin fruit tree before. Speaking of Lingjin fruit, Zhao Fan still has one in his ring. He originally thought of using it to upgrade to the gold level, but he can no longer use it now. This is Mingshen Jade, which has a good effect on improving mental power. I used it to practice before. Even if you reach the diamond level, it will still be effective. Zhou Qinghan said, and the jade in his hand flew directly into Zhao Fan's hand. At the same time, she took out a large square crystal and worked on it. I'll transfer you 10,000 points. Go to the mall and choose the spiritual items you need. Your level information has been modified, and you don't need to go through level certification. If you have a mission, please meet at the south gate of the college the day after tomorrow. Don't forget to do it. Hearing Zhou Qinghan's arrangement, Zhao Fan said nothing more. Looking at the slightly warm jade in his hand, his mental power began to increase under the operation of the breathing method. Although it's not fast, it's not too slow either. Thank you, teacher, I'll go back first. When Zhao Fan saw that Zhou Qinghan had finished speaking and seemed to have nothing else to do, he left the office without writing. Watching Zhao Fan leave, Zhou Qinghan leaned back on the chair, revealing his curvy figure. As expected of their child, he can reach the gold level in such a short time. I'm afraid the geniuses at Dragon Academy can only practice at this speed. Zhou Qinghan murmured, and then took out the document she was looking at before. The demon temple has become more and more rampant recently, and even the demon beasts seem to be making different movements. Alas! As Zhou Qinghan sighed sadly, The head of the document clearly stated, the demon temple is suspected of having a cooperative relationship with the demonic beasts. At this time, Zhao Fan has returned to the dormitory, and Yi Xingchen and the others are still in class, so he is alone now. After placing the Mingxian jade close to his body, Zhao Fan directly opened the academy mall. Zhou Qinghan saved him the trouble of level certification. He could now see gold-level spiritual objects and other resources in the mall. After some selection, Zhao Fan spent all 10,000 points in exchange for 3 spiritual objects that could enhance his mental power. After placing the order in the mall, Zhao Fan heard the dormitory door ring in less than 5 minutes. It turned out that the spiritual object he purchased had arrived, and the delivery person was naturally a student with speed powers. Tisk, this delivery speed was unbeatable in my previous life. Zhao Fan couldn't help but sigh, and then directly began to absorb these spiritual objects and practice. Now that you have decided to improve yourself, don't waste time. Cultivation takes no time, and soon it will be the day after tomorrow. In the morning, Zhao Fan felt refreshed and left the dormitory again under the envious eyes of Yi Xingchen and others. After a simple breakfast, Zhao Fan came to the gathering place mentioned by Zhou Qinghan. Zhao Fan, what are you doing here? As soon as Zhao Fan arrived here, he felt a sense of malice, and Wang Zheng's voice also sounded. Looking sideways, he saw Wang Zheng staring at him with a thoughtful and cold look in his eyes. There are already more than a dozen people here, and Wang Zheng is just one of them. None of your business. Zhao Fan directly responded with the 4-character mantra. For a person who has deep malice towards him, Zhao Fan will naturally not tolerate him. Hey, are you Zhao Fan? The freshman Zhao Fan who is in the silver rank when he first enters school. Just when Wang Zheng was about to say something angrily, another person suddenly interrupted. This man with yellow hair came to Zhao Fan and kept looking at him from top to bottom, making tut-tut sounds from his mouth. It's nothing special. Boy, how dare you talk to your senior like this? Huang Mao turned to Wang Zheng with a disdainful expression and mocked him. Wang Zheng, when did you change your gender? This kid is like this and you don't even teach him a lesson. After hearing this, Wang Zheng sneered, Chu Baipu, if you have the ability, come and do it. Hearing this, Huang Mao and Chu Baipu looked at Zhao Fan in surprise, then turned their heads and cursed at Wang Zheng. You want to use Laozi as a spearman, Wang Zheng, you have a beautiful idea. You are from the Gobi. Cursing like this, Chu Baipu left Zhao Fan directly, which surprised Zhao Fan. This Huang Mao doesn't look like a good person, and his name is quite awesome. Zhao Fan looked at his arrogant look and his hands started to itch. But he didn't expect Chu Baipu to turn around and leave immediately after hearing Wang Zheng's words. Others around him just looked at Zhao Fan curiously, and then withdrew their gaze. Wang Zheng didn't react much after being scolded by Chu Baipu, as if he knew the other party would do this. Wang Zheng said nothing more to Zhao Fan, but looked at Zhao Fan again with a hint of joy in his eyes. After all, this was the place where their mission gathered and set off. Since Zhao Fan appeared here, it must be related to their mission. Thinking about Zhao Fan's special abilities, Wang Zheng can be sure that Zhao Fan must be participating in this mission trip. In this case, this is a good opportunity. Wang Zheng looked at each other calmly with several other people, with unclear meaning in his eyes. And those people nodded without any trace. After a while, more and more people came here, and soon there were 50 or 60 people. Some people seemed to know Zhao Fan. After all, the photos of Zhao Fan and Yan Meng were still on the college forum. After curiously looking at Zhao Fan for a few times, they stopped paying attention. But no one questioned why Zhao Fan appeared here. This made Zhao Fan suddenly feel that he had been deceived by the novel in his previous life. He thought someone would question his strength or why he could participate in the mission. The result is nothing. Tisk, Zhao Fan complained in his heart. At this time, a figure suddenly appeared in midair, and at the same time, a stream of Kamui pressure came, making everyone present feel silent. I am the teacher leading this mission, Song Yukai. You can call me Teacher Song. A slightly magnetic voice sounded directly in everyone's ears, and the figure also descended from the sky. Zhao Fan also saw clearly what Teacher Song looked like. His skin is somewhat fair, and he looks like a frail scholar at first glance. After Song Yukai landed, Several streams of light instantly appeared in his hand and spread out in all directions. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Fan felt something extra in his hand. When I looked down, I saw a gray stone that looked like a glass marble. What's this? Zhao Fan was a little confused, and some people around him also looked at Song Yukai like Zhao Fan. Song Yukai scanned everyone present and matched the number of people one by one with the list he knew. When his eyes glanced at Zhao Fan, he paused slightly, a flash of surprise flashed in his eyes, and then Song Yukai cleared his throat and spoke. This is your talisman for this secret realm. Input your own spiritual power into it. When you encounter any danger, crush it and you can escape from the secret realm directly. Now, let's go. After Song Yukai finished speaking, he walked directly in front, and everyone followed him consciously. Zhao Fan mingled in the crowd and walked out of the college gate, where he saw several buses waiting outside. Even though Song Yukai didn't say anything, everyone automatically separated and got into the car directly and chose a seat to sit down. Zhao Fan glanced at Song Yukai with some curiosity. At first, when he saw Teacher Song flying down from the sky, he thought he was taking them in some special way. It turns out that we still have to take the bus. After getting on the bus started quickly. They were silent all the way, and after 2.5 hours, they finally arrived at their destination. Song Yukai had a serious face at this time. When he came here, he obviously became a little wary, as if he was wary of something. In front of him is the entrance to the secret realm, and there are 2 city defenders guarding the entrance. After Song Yukai said hello to them, he turned his head and said to Zhao Fan and the others. All illusion-type abilities are listed. Upon hearing this, Zhao Fan saw 5 people walking out of the team. After thinking for a moment, Zhao Fan also walked out. Song Yukai looked at the 6 Zhao Fans who were coming out and nodded. In fact, he has read the information of everyone present, including Zhao Fan's information. I believe you all know that there are many illusion restrictions in this secret realm. Everyone chooses one of the 6 of them to be your captain and enter the secret realm. After hearing Song Yukai's arrangement, everyone started talking. Unlike Zhao Fan, they were all students who had been in the gold level for some time. Even if they don't know each other too well, they can still be considered familiar if they look up but don't look down. Some of them even teamed up to go on missions together. So after they discussed it, everyone went to stand behind the person they chose. After all, they are all gold level students, so they still understand the rules. Soon, there were more than 10 people behind each of the other 5 people. Zhao Fan's place seemed very clean, with only 3 people standing behind him. Feeling the gloating looks and whispers coming from the side, Zhao Fan raised his eyebrows. After hearing Song Yukai's words, he felt that no one would stand behind him. Many people knew about his abilities. Even if there were some in the team who didn't know, they were pulled back by his teammates. After hearing that Zhao Fan only had an E-level pupil power, the several golden students who were moving all stopped thinking. Feeling that there was someone behind him, Zhao Fan couldn't help but look back. He wanted to see who would choose him. 3 male students, one of whom had a kind smile on his face, nodded to Zhao Fan after seeing Zhao Fan turn around. The other was a slightly thin boy who looked a little older than Zhao Fan, but his attitude seemed a bit submissive. The last one was a fat man with a somewhat honest face and a sparkle in his small eyes from time to time. The 3 people reacted differently to the gazes of the other 5 teams, and the kind smile remained kind. The thin boy kept his head lowered and looked at the ground, while the fat man smacked his mouth a few times, and occasionally looked at other teams with disdain in his eyes. Looking at these 3 people, Zhao Fan's eyes moved slightly, and then Song Yukai spoke again. Very good. Now that you have chosen your team, let's go in. I wish you a safe return. Song Yukai didn't say much about the unevenly distributed team in front of him. He just took a deep look at Zhao Fan and let them enter the secret realm. White light flashed and 4 figures appeared on the grass. Zhao Fan took a look around and made sure there was no danger, then communicated with the 3 people. Since he is leading the team, he must know something about his own people. These 3 people were also very cooperative and quickly introduced themselves. The man with a kind smile all the time is called Wei Jia, and he has B-level wood-type abilities. The skinny boy's name is Feng Ping, and he summons a B-level weapon. Fat Shu Baoduo, A-level giant. Through the interviews of these three people, Zhao Fan also knew that their missions were not different. They all came here for the resources of the secret realm. Looking at the three people in front of him, Zhao Fan had a thoughtful look in his eyes. At this time, Wei Jia said with a smile, "Captain Zhao Fan, where do you think we are going? We all listen to you." Fang Ping and Xu Baoduo also nodded. There is obviously no special spiritual creature where they are now, and the surroundings are even quieter. Occasionally, only the wind blows, blowing a blade of grass. After Zhao Fan glanced at Wei Jia, he realized that although these three people were older than him, they could be said to be his seniors. But since he is the captain, there is no need to shirk the blame. Sharingan emerged and began to observe the energy reactions around him. Seeing the change in Zhao Fan's eyes, Fang Ping and Xu Baoduo were a little surprised, while Wei Jia lowered his eyes and did not look directly into Zhao Fan's eyes. At this time, Zhao Fan also discovered that this secret realm was different from other secret realms. In this secret realm, the energy reaction in the air is extremely rich. In his field of vision, the entire sky was almost filled with energy reactions. Under such circumstances, his intention to choose a high-energy reaction suddenly came to nothing. The corresponding direction can only be determined through the properties of energy. Let's go this way. Zhao Fan didn't pay attention to the three people's reactions. He waved directly and took the lead in walking forward. However, Zhao Fan deliberately controlled the speed and observed the surrounding environment. Just after the four of them advanced a certain distance, Fang Ping suddenly saw the figure of Zhao Fan who was walking at the front suddenly disappearing. I was suddenly shocked and started to speak with some stammering for a while. Team, long time no see you. Fang Ping is one of those little transparent students in Sushin Academy who occasionally does tasks. Although he has some understanding of the illusion, he has never actually seen it. Xu Baoduo also stopped and looked carefully ahead with his small eyes. In his field of vision, there was nothing abnormal about the surrounding environment. If Zhao Fan hadn't disappeared before their eyes, he would not have been able to tell that there was an illusion here. What should I do? Doesn't the captain also have the ability to dream? His pupil technique didn't detect it either. Hey, don't worry, let's wait. Wei Jia took a few glances at the place where Zhao Fan disappeared, slightly raised the corner of his mouth, and then smiled at Fang Ping and the others. After all, Captain Zhao Fan seems to only have a silver rank. This is a golden secret realm after all. It shouldn't be that easy to get out. At this time, a head suddenly appeared in the air where Zhao Fan disappeared, and Fang Ping and Xu Baoduo, who wanted to see through the illusion and observed carefully, were frightened. What the hell? Ah, Captain. The sudden appearance of the head made Xu Baoduo's spirit jump, and he wanted to activate his superpower. Fortunately, I saw it clearly in time, and it turned out that this was Zhao Fan's head. Zhao Fan looked at the three of them with some confusion and asked, "What's going on? Why are you all stopping here? Follow me." After saying that, Zhao Fan put his head back directly. After all, this is just an illusion that affects the visual effects. You just need to pay close attention to get through it. Quote. Xu Baoduo and Fang Ping couldn't help but look at each other and had to follow immediately. The smile on Wei Jia's face faltered slightly, then returned to his natural state. After the three of them followed Zhao Fan in, they saw that there seemed to be a translucent frosted glass behind them, and they could vaguely see the scenery outside. "Captain, wait for me." Xu Baoduo and others no longer hesitated and quickly chased Zhao Fan. Along the way, Zhao Fan and the others had been traveling for more than half an hour, ignoring some illusions that only affected their vision. Zhao Fan, who had been walking in front, suddenly stopped. "Captain, what's wrong? We've arrived." Zhao Fan Sharingan stared at the illusion in front of him, then turned his head and said to Xu Baoduo and the others, "This is a large illusion. There may be other energy traps inside. You can choose not to enter. Wait until I break the core of the illusion before entering. Of course, you can also choose to give it a try. After all, there should be a lot of good things in such a large-scale illusion." Before setting off, Zhao Fan had a good understanding of the relevant information. Zhao Fan just reminded them that they were only a temporary team. Even if they wanted to break the illusion together, they actually did not have a deep connection. Whoever gets the resources belongs only to himself, and he will be 50-50 with the college when the time comes. Zhao Fan also already knows the purpose of Sushan College, which is to keep free. Whatever you want, you can work hard to get it, and you can exchange it for whatever the college has. As for whether you will be robbed or encounter danger in the secret realm, the academy will not consider it. It will only ensure that you do not die and nothing else will interfere. After saying that, Zhao Fan walked directly in. After a slight hesitation, Xu Baoduo and Feng Ping chose to follow in. After Zhao Fan and the others had entered the illusion, Wei Jia, who stayed outside, observed the surroundings. After making sure there was no other movement, he took out a crystal fragment and threw it directly on the ground. Then he coughed a few times, pretending as if nothing happened, and entered the illusion. After Wei Jia entered, after a while, several heads slowly emerged from the ground, looking at the illusion in front of them where Zhao Fan and others entered. The students from Sushan Seminary are finally here. It's almost time to start. The flowers I've been waiting for are almost withered. One of the heads also glanced at the crystal fragments thrown down by Wei Jia. Positioning crystal. Jia. Okay. With bursts of laughter, the ground returned to calm again, with no trace of the appearance of the heads just now. At this time, the entrance to the secret realm. From time to time, some teams come here and enter the secret realm after being verified by the city defenders. These people are relatively older, and they are all superpowers who have been stuck in the gold level. It can be said to be a team among the scattered people. This golden secret realm is naturally open to them, but the proportion of resources obtained is different. Even so, they are willing to explore such a secret realm just to get more resources to break through to the diamond level. Song Yukai, who had been waiting nearby, ignored this. He was not worried that these people would cause any trouble to the students in the secret realm. After all, there are almost no high-level superpowers among Sanren, and even gold-level ones are not much better. What's more, the academy is just a place to train students, not a nanny. If you want to survive, you have to work hard. Moreover, the students all have a talisman, and the teleportation center is on his body. It can be said that as long as the student activates the amulet, it will appear directly next to him. Song Yukai only needs to protect the students who come out of the secret realm. At this time, a figure came here, which immediately attracted Song Yukai's attention. His eyes that had been closed were opened. However, after seeing the person clearly, Song Yukai frowned, and then slowly closed his eyes. The newly arrived figure walked up to the two city defenders, and after some identity verification, quickly entered the secret realm. Song Yukai still sat there quietly, but there was a trace of doubt in his heart. Why do people from Qinglong Academy come here? Entering the illusion, Zhao Fan found that he was walking in a slightly narrow passage. Zhao Fan raised his eyebrows, turned his head slightly, and looked to the side of the passage, where he could vaguely see the figure of Wei Ping and Xu Baoduo. Zhao Fan didn't pay attention and continued to move forward. At the same time, he couldn't help but think of an ancient poem from his previous life. It is like an illusion, entering through the mouth. It is very narrow at first, and then it can reach people. After walking nearly 100 steps, I suddenly became enlightened. Hey, Candide Haws. Zhao Fan heard such a sound as soon as he walked out of the passage. I followed the voice and looked over, but it was a man holding a stick of Candide Haws shouting. There are various vendors and some pedestrians walking on the street. Not far away there were several children playing with a ball. With a bang, one of the children kicked the ball away and hit a little boy in my directly on the head. The little boy sat on the ground after being knocked down, but did not cry. This is not fun at all. After saying that, he got up from the ground angrily, and reached out to pat his clothes, trying to clean away the dust. Zhao Fan stood on the street, watching this scene, and then looked back, only to find that there was a wall behind him. There is no figure of Wei Ping and others here. Hey, young man, is this your first time here? An old and hoarse voice sounded, and Zhao Fan looked away from the distance and looked at the position on his right. There is an old woman. The old woman was looking at Zhao Fan with cloudy eyes, smiling, revealing most of her teeth that had been lost. Young man, let me tell you, you can't mess around in our village. If you have nothing to do, just take a stroll. I know what weird abilities you outsiders have. But it's a coincidence that you came here. Our village is celebrating a festival, so you can also see it. The old woman said with some emotion, her eyes suddenly lit up. Hey, there is a rumor in our village. It is said that outsiders can find treasures in the village, spiritual treasures that can be cultivated and so on. As she said that, the old woman looked around, her voice became softer, she waved to Zhao Fan and said quietly. Young man, come on, come here, I'll tell you in detail. Zhao Fan did not respond, but looked at the old woman quietly, then glanced at the open space in front of the old woman, and then looked at the entire street again. Seeing this, the old woman who was ignored by him did not call Zhao Fan again, but kept her eyes on Zhao Fan. Guest, would you like a candied haws on a stick? One costs only 3 yuan. The candied haws hawker saw Zhao Fan and immediately shouted to Zhao Fan. Young man, come to me, fresh meat buns. Freshly made. Shouted the owner of a bun shop on the roadside. Brother, can you do me a favor? Zhao Fan looked down slightly and saw that the little boy who had shouted that it was not fun came to him and said to him. Look at the direction of the little boy's finger, it's just behind them kicking the ball. Zhao Fan still ignored them. In fact, in Zhao Fan's field of vision, the village and everyone in front of him were like inferior holographic images. It could be said that he could see through them at a glance. Behind the image of the old woman is a demonic plant that can eat meat. There are already many bones of demonic beasts in the open space in front of her. Where the candied haws are sold, there is a mouthpart growing on the ground. If Zhao Fan gets close, he will fall directly into it. Baozipu is also a special kind of monster, with its mouth open waiting for Zhao Fan to fall into the trap. As for the place the little boy was pointing to, it was a swamp. Zhao Fan could only see several energy reactions in it, but he couldn't see any monsters or plants. How come this illusion is like a buffet for these demonic plants? With this in mind, Zhao Fan simply ignored the phantoms that kept talking to him and trying to seduce him. There were even half-covered beauties coming out of them. Using this to test cadres, Zhao Fan twitched the corner of his mouth and was speechless. He could feel that there was always a special energy trying to affect his senses. But with Sharingan eye power, he could ignore this effect. However, there seems to be a special energy restriction here, so he cannot directly use Sharingan to bounce the illusion back. It's like, I can't select a target. Roar. Ah, help, the monster is coming. Run. Even if Zhao Fan has no reaction to the illusion is still going on. Directly in front of Zhao Fan, a huge monster suddenly sprang out without any warning. The other people in the phantom ran away in panic. It made countless noises. Zhao Fan narrowed his eyes and began to dodge. Because these phantoms running towards him in panic were just cover-ups. In fact, there were several branches pulling towards him. It was probably the demon plant in this illusion that had attacked him. The huge monster also rushed in front of Zhao Fan. Roar! The huge body waved its claws towards Zhao Fan with a strong sense of oppression. It's a pity that Zhao Fan's vision lacks a sense of immersion. Once again, he sideways dodged the attack of the tree branch. Facing the attack of this huge monster, Zhao Fan directly kicked the monster in front of him. Ouch! Oh, 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 oh. Bang! A wail of pain suddenly appeared in the illusion, and the huge monster dispersed, revealing an enlarged version of the leopard monster wrapped in it. The entire leopard face was replaced by pain. It was hard to imagine that a monster could have such rich expressions. There was an explosion in the abdomen kicked by Zhao Fan, and the leopard flew backwards at a faster speed. At the same time, the entire leopard's body was instantly covered with blood. He lost his breath while flying in midair. Zhao Fan didn't have any strength left. If this leopard wasn't also a gold-level leopard, it would have exploded the moment it was kicked by Zhao Fan. The death of the leopard monster made the entire illusion come to a halt. The monster plant that was originally next to Zhao Fan also quickly pulled out its roots from the earth and carefully moved away from Zhao Fan with its feet. Other monsters and beasts also quickly moved away from Zhao Fan. Then the village disappeared in an instant, and after a sudden change in the illusion, a huge mountain stood directly in front of Zhao Fan. Obviously, something that created this illusion sensed that Zhao Fan was not easy to mess with. I want to stop him in this way. This time, Zhao Fan did not ignore the illusion. Instead, he put his hand on the mountain in front of him. Although it was an illusion, it had the same effect as an energy shield. Very strange. Zhao Fan could feel that there were many kinds of energy gathered inside, including energy similar to the branches that attacked him before. It seems that the power he showed just now has scared the monsters and monsters in this illusion. Zhao Fan thought in his mind, and at the same time, he put his right hands together, and his fingertips were only an inch away from the mountain. Then Zhao Fan's eyes flashed and he punched. The powerful force hit the mountain in an instant, and then the cracks quickly spread outward from Zhao Fan's fist, directly giving the mountain a broken skin. Then with a bang, the mountain disappeared. Everything hidden in the illusion finally appeared in front of Zhao Fan. Ouch! As the mountain barrier disappeared, the hidden energy was suddenly exposed in front of Zhao Fan. There are swamps, woods, and shrubs. At the same time, Zhao Fan sensed the weak auras of several monster beasts and monster plants one by one. There are so many monsters and monsters here. Zhao Fan's eyes swept across the trembling monsters around him, and finally landed on the farthest flower with blue starlight. His eyes narrowed slightly. This is Huan Xinghua. Corresponding information suddenly appeared in Zhao Fan's mind. The magic star flower is between spiritual plants and demonic plants. It not only has a certain consciousness of demonic plants, but can also be absorbed by people with powers like spiritual plants. Because the illusion energy in it is abundant, it is one of the favorite cultivation resources of all illusion-type superpowers. After absorption, the illusion created by the supernatural power can be made more realistic. It can be said that the single addition is yes. Precisely because the magic star flower is not entirely a demon plant, the little consciousness it has is limited to distinguishing between prey and partners. After all, there are many plants in nature that automatically cooperate with animals. This resulted in Zhao Fan being unable to bounce back the illusion in the illusion. His consciousness was too small to contain it at all. Creating illusions is just the instinct of Huan Xinghua. Zhao Fan took a long breath and leisurely beat the monsters and plants around him to death one by one, packed them up, and put them away. Then he collected the magic star flower. Fortunately, before he set off, he had already replaced it with a gold-level storage ring. The space inside was not small, and these items only occupied less than 1/10. After harvesting energy points, I also harvested resources that can be cultivated. Zhao Fan hummed a tune to see if he had missed anything. During this process, Zhao Fan kept paying attention to the changes around him, and he could feel a malicious gaze watching him. But he didn't find that person's location. Thinking about it, this may be the reason why magic starflower can create such an illusion as a village. Someone should have guided the energy of the fantasy starflower to change the illusion. At this time, Zhao Fan also discovered that he was still in the big illusion, and what he broke was just a small illusion in it. What a strange secret realm rule. Remaining vigilant, Zhao Fan sighed. There are many kinds of secret realms, there are more than 1,000 types in the Academy's records alone. Especially for exploring secret realms, some of the rules are the same as playing. Zhao Fan was very impressed by the rules of one of the secret realms, called the Mushroom-Eating Secret Realm. It is very similar to a game in the previous life, which is very suitable for a person with special abilities like Shu Baoduo. Shaking his head, Zhao Fan came to the edge of this illusion. It was like there was an invisible wall, wrapping up the small illusion. However, when Zhao Fan touched it, he did not feel any resistance. Maybe the wall just blocked the energy of the illusion. Zhao Fan stepped in directly. Shu Baoduo, let's break up. The girl looked at Shu Baoduo in front of her with disgust, the disdain in her eyes and words piercing Fang Ping's heart like a knife. Shanshan, why? Shu Baoduo looked at the girl in disbelief. Could it be that all the promises he had made were false? Why, you have the nerve to ask me why? When Zhang Shanshan heard this, she immediately became furious and looked Shu Baoduo up and down. Look at you, you are 1.7 meters tall but weigh nearly 200 kilograms. You need money but not money, you need ability but not ability. Should I follow you to drink the northwest wind? I want a spiritual creature and fruit, but you can't even give me one. Shu Baoduo's lips trembled slightly and he said with a trembling voice. But, didn't I just give you the Narcissus? I bought it specifically for you to use to practice water powers. Daffodils, Zhang Shanshan took out a water blue flower directly from the storage ring, shook it in her hand, and looked at Xu Beoduo sarcastically. It took more than half a month for you to give me a daffodil. How can I practice cultivation? I've been with you for so long, and this is all you've contributed. With that said, Zhang Shanshan threw out another handful of spiritual plants with water energy. Look, can you give me these? Do you have what it takes? Shanshan, where did you get these? Xu Beoduo swallowed. How did Zhang Shanshan obtain so many cultivation resources? He had a bad feeling in his heart. He looked at Zhang Shanshan with a touch of luck in his eyes. HMPH. Let me tell you, Xu Beoduo, if you can't do it, someone else will do it. These are all given to me by my new boyfriend. Do you understand? As for you, just stay where you can and cool off. Don't bother me anymore. After leaving these words, Zhang Shanshan turned around and left. Zhang Shanshan, I am an A-level superpower. Xu Beoduo had disappointment and pain in his eyes, but he didn't want to lose Zhang Shanshan and immediately tried to retain her. He is an A-level superpower, so his future will naturally be very good. Ha, you're laughing so hard. What's the use of A-level powers? Let me tell you, Xu Beoduo, my current boyfriend is 10,000 times better than you. He is richer than you and has all the resources I need. And you can barely support yourself, so following you is what makes me blind. Stop talking, break up, and don't come to me again. Zhang Shanshan dropped these words and left without looking back, leaving the devastated Xu Beoduo where he was. Shanshan, how can I live without you? Xu Beoduo looked at Zhang Shanshan's leaving figure in pain and shouted loudly, but did not let her leave to pause. All the memories of the past together appeared in my mind, and tears flowed from my eyes. Why are you so cruel? Why? For a moment, Xu Beoduo felt as if his heart was filled with despair, as if living was meaningless and he might as well just die. The humid air carries the smell of decaying vegetation, and a large tree nearly 3 meters thick stands on this not-so-small piece of land. The dead bones of monsters and lush plants on the ground surrounded the big tree. As soon as Zhao Fan came here, he saw special energy in the air, and at the same time, there was also a special spiritual force trying to influence him. Is this a combination of hypnosis and illusion? Zhao Fan carefully sensed it and confirmed this idea. However, this place was different from his little illusion just now. He did not sense the breath of monsters. Seeing the bones of monsters on the ground, Zhao Fan focused on the big tree in the middle. There is a strong energy reaction there. Several vines and branches moved slowly, for fear of attracting the attention of prey. Slowly approaching, spreading, slowly tied up, hanging on the tree, like a fruit. After Zhao Fan made sure there was no danger, he came to a place not far from the big tree. At a glance, I saw a fruit that was mostly wrapped on the tree, and the person wrapped inside was Xu Beoduo. His eyes were closed tightly and he was breathing lightly, seemingly unaware of anything outside. The only characteristic is that the tear stains on his face are more obvious. And the vines wrapping him are still growing. Tisk, if you can't resist the illusion, you dare to follow me in. You're a fool. Zhao Fan said softly that although Xu Beoduo was his temporary teammate, he did not choose to rush forward to save people. He dealt with the demonic plant first, and the people were naturally rescued. His eyes fell on the trunk of the big tree, where the energy response was the most obvious. Zhao Fan's figure suddenly retreated quickly. Several vines suddenly appeared wrapped around the place where he had just left. If he had not left, he would have been tied up. Fire style. Great fireball. Zhao Fan took a deep breath and spit out a 2-meter-wide high-temperature fireball towards Yao Ji. The sudden appearance of fire attribute energy immediately made the moisture in the air dry. At the same time, most of the vines on the demonic tree danced rapidly, constantly beating on the great fireball. Boom! Even so, the great fireball only exploded after it got close to the big tree. When the smoke and dust dissipated, Zhao Fan squinted his eyes and saw a net made of branches and vines in front of the big tree. At this time, the net was completely broken, and there were some charcoal residues on the ground. There was only a little black burn mark on the trunk of the big tree protected by this net. It was obvious that Zhao Fan's great fireball was intercepted in the end. The agility of this demonic plant is obviously much stronger than that of the magical star flower. Zhao Fan looked at the burned net and felt the special spiritual power that had always wanted to affect him. As his mind turned, the Sharingan in Zhao Fan's eyes moved slightly. The branches and vines that were still waving on the big tree suddenly stopped. Then there were some signs of burnt marks starting from the root. Really? With joy in his heart, Zhao Fan quickly approached the big tree, but the big tree did not react to Zhao Fan's approach at this time. Seeing the sparkling energy reaction in the middle of the trunk of the big tree, Zhao Fan kicked the ground with his right foot and swept over with his whip leg. With the sound of an air explosion, the 3-meter-wide tree shook violently. Zhao Fan would not stop, and he kicked at the same position several times in a row. It was obvious that the big tree in front of him, even if it belonged to the gold-level demon plant, could not withstand Zhao Fan's powerful attack. There were obvious signs of breakage throughout the trunk. Dark green liquid flowed out from the broken position, and at the same time exuded a refreshing fragrance. As soon as he smelled the fragrance, Zhao Fan suddenly felt a slight numbness in his body, and immediately pulled away, avoiding the branches and vines that were going crazy due to injuries. It seems that in addition to physical attacks, it can also cause paralysis, as well as illusion and hypnosis abilities. Zhao Fan stood in a position where the big tree could not attack, and eased the paralysis in his body. He glanced at Shu Baoduo, who was still hanging on the tree. No wonder Shu Baoduo still didn't react to the noise he made like this. It was obvious that he had been affected. However, after being attacked by him so many times, the energy response of the big tree in front of him was rapidly weakening. He just used genjutsu to affect the mental power that had always wanted to affect him. Obviously, that was the consciousness of the big tree. Genjutsu Shiranui successfully controlled the tree. Speaking of which, this is the first time Zhao Fan has unleashed genjutsu on a demon plant, and the feeling is quite novel. Zhao Fan once again released a great fireball at the big tree. This time, although the big tree wanted to defend, the number of vines it could control was greatly reduced due to the breakage of the trunk. The great fireball successfully hit the trunk of the big tree, and with an explosion, the entire tree fell to one side, revealing what has been wrapped in the heart of the tree. A few branches and vines waved randomly for a while before falling back to the ground motionless, and then quickly became extremely dry. After a while, all the branches and vines of the entire tree became dry and rotten, leaving only the bare trunk and stump. Zhao Fan observed for a while to make sure that the energy response of the big tree disappeared, and then walked up. I first took a look at Shu Baoduo, who came out of the fruit. He was still in his original state and had not woken up. Then Zhao Fan came to the broken tree stump and saw something like a green crystal ball in the center of the tree. Seeing this, Zhao Fan knew the original name of this demon plant. It turns out that the magic wood heart is produced by this big tree. The spiritual tree demon is a kind of demon plant that can trigger memories in people's hearts. The original dark green liquid was also evaporated by the great fireball, and there was nothing here that could affect Zhao Fan. Zhao Fan reached out and took Huan Muxin out from the center of the tree stump. It is about the size of a football. The translucent film is wrapped in a light green liquid and exudes a slight green luster, which is very similar to a water vapor ball. At the same time, after picking up the phantom wood heart, you can smell a clear-headed scent on it. After feeling the sensation brought by the smell, Zhao Fan took the magic wood heart and put it under Shu Baoduo's nose for a while. Huan Mu Xin has the effect of clearing the mind and clearing the brain, increasing mental toughness, and also has the ability to detoxify. It is one of the spiritual cultivation plants that many people with supernatural powers like. Well, with the effect of Wanmuxin, Shu Baoduo finally woke up from the paralysis of hypnosis. Having just woken up, he stared at the sky with dull eyes, motionless. After Zhao Fan put away the fantasy wood heart, he also looked up at the sky. After the small illusion was broken, there was only a layer of illusion energy on it, which did not affect his vision. Shu Baoduo, it's quite safe here. Just stay by yourself. I'm leaving. Looking at Shu Baoduo, who was still absent-minded, Zhao Fan was a little curious, but he didn't know what Shu Baoduo saw in the illusion. However, Zhao Fan did not ask. After confirming that Shu Baoduo was fine, Zhao Fan checked that there were no other spiritual objects around him, and then passed through the energy wall again. The gains from these two small illusions were pretty good, and they both improved his mental strength. Zhao Fan was naturally very happy, and he still had energy points to gain. Each of the gold-level spiritual plant monsters basically brought him 6,000 to 7,000 energy points, which was a huge increase compared to the silver-level ones. In just such a period of time, his energy points increased by 100,000. It seems that Eternity Sharingan is not far away. After Zhao Fan left, Shu Baoduo's eyes slowly focused and he sat up from the dry vines. This is. Only then did Shu Baoduo notice the surrounding environment and the tree demon who was interrupted by Zhao Fan. He looked under him again and stood up quickly. His body was swaying, and Shu Baoduo only felt scared for a while. He also recognized that it was the phantom tree demon. This was all done by that Zhao Fan. Shu Baoduo couldn't believe his eyes. He looked at the broken tree demon and looked at himself in a somewhat embarrassed state. There was silence for a moment. Then, Shu Baoduo thought about the illusions he had seen before. No, in other words, those were his memories. Zhang Shanshan, you will definitely regret it. Shu Baoduo gritted his teeth, but there was pain and confusion in his eyes. Obviously his words were not the same as his own thoughts. Fang Ping, do you know that you have to listen to your father and be a good boy from now on? The woman looked at the thin Fang Ping in front of her tenderly, and gently smoothed the wrinkles on his clothes. He straightened his collar. Okay, Mom. Fang Ping looked at the woman in front of him with wet eyes, feeling the familiar smell. Good boy, mother made you suffer. The woman smiled and touched his head, then spread her arms to hug him. Fang Ping, I'm sorry, Mom can't accompany you anymore. Mom, I miss you so much. Fang Ping said with a trembling voice and a cry. Holding the woman tightly with both hands was something he could never forget and gave him a feeling of peace of mind. Mom loves you. Listening to the woman's gentle voice, Fang Ping burst into tears. Then, his hand was empty, and the original woman had disappeared. The surroundings became pitch black. Fang Ping is a child without a mother. Let's go, we don't want to play with motherless children. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.